Okay, I am here, but I'm eating. So it's going to be like sounds and eating noises. You know, do I do it on live or do I not? Do we chit chat while I eat? I could turn off the sound. I could turn off the sound so you don't have to hear it. Okay, Virgo will survive. Virgo, when's your launch date for streaming? Oh, Melvay posted 8 TikTok videos. Wait. Oh. I need to follow you. I'm going to follow you from a web browser. Yes, whatever. Okay. So, I can't do it for you guys. You guys are stuck with the sound. You're not real chat. Sorry. I'm still on Burger Egg. It's Fuck Off Fridays, which means I have to start being mean to you guys. I gotta be really mean to you, so I'm gonna start being mean to you. Yes, Tom Steyer, the progressive LARPing billionaire, is fucking frying me. And the fact that people are following, this is something I can be mean about. The fact that people are, okay, wait, I just followed you, Mel May, but I haven't been able to watch anything yet, but I will. I'm really excited that you're doing this. So the fact that people are falling for it is fucking psychotic. So Tom Steyer, for those of you who don't know, guy running for Democrat. Look at my opposition party, y'all. Out here in fucking California, running for governor. This guy, billionaire with a B, made his money investing in Core Civic, the largest for-profit private prison group in the United States. It used to be called something else, but now it's called Core Civic. They have contracts with ICE, okay? This is how this guy got rich. Part of his investment strategy was to invest in these people. Is it really 10K? Is it? I switched it to be really low. Is it still insane? Should I switch it? Real chat? The output? It's glitchy. Yeah, it says it's red. It says the internet's red right now. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep yelling at Burger Ripe while you guys deal with that. So he now is trying to claim he's like a progressive darling. Crazy work. He's paying influencers $10 a video to say that they like him, which is just embarrassing. But some influencers, people with my level of following, he's paying them $10,000. So $10,000 for the big guns. Anybody, I guess, $10 a pop. It's pretty psycho. $10. A billionaire with a B. $10. And the funny thing is, this man has so much money that if his money is going up 10% on average per year, which is the average increase in invested wealth, 10%, we probably can assume he's at least getting 10%. That means that he could give every single person in California $6 a year and never lose a penny. Tom Steyer could be buying every single Californian like one matcha per year. Never get a cent less rich. Every person, your abuela, your baby, anybody, your baby could be getting one free matcha every year from Tom Steyer without him losing $1. So if you got a baby and you think it's time to start caffeinating that thing up, knock Tom Steyer, where's my matcha money? That's all I'm saying. Why did I lie about Stalin in World War II? I did not, Shifty. What do you think I lied about? I would love to give you a source. It's Ramsey Robinson. Oh, it's Ramsey Robinson. What do you mean if it's not? It's Ramsey Robinson. 100% it's Ramsey Robinson. Who told you to start Ramsey Robinson? That's crazy. He's literally the socialist in the race. Why would it not be Ramsey Robinson? That's insane. I live in the United States, unfortunately. He's not going to win, though. Well, not if you don't fucking vote for him. That's how that works. If you want him to win, you vote for him. What? And if you're living in a system where you acknowledge you don't have democracy, why the fuck are you not fighting to change that system? Hello? You sure are mad at places like North Korea and China and Iran, and you don't think they have democracy, which they do, whatever. But why aren't you that mad at home? If you're so confident, you're not allowed to vote for the person you want to win because nobody will let them win. Why are you not in the streets burning down a Target right now? I don't get that. I'm not telling... For legal purposes, I'm not telling anybody to burn down a Target. I'm just wondering where that thought process comes from. Here we go with North Korea. Every fucking day, babes. Because I'm not a ding-dong. And I'm not a psycho. What's going on with you? That girl is a liar. She's a liar. There's no nice way to say it. I made a video not saying her name. Or I was like, holy shit, like this girl, like back in the day, like years ago, I have her blocked. She popped on my For You page. It's probably because she was fucking dogpiling me about some bullshit. And then she made a video outing herself, which I'm like, you didn't need to do that. Putting my name on the title card, like, man, turned it into a marketing opportunity to sell concert tickets. Which, you know, Madeline Pendleton hate goes viral. So she knew, she's smart. She's a smart marketer. Good for her, girl. And then she made up a bunch of lies. And I was like, this is exactly what you did the first time. This is why I blocked you the first time, you psycho. You're just repeating random lies about me. She's a literal, like, dogpiling liar. And then everyone's like, I side with her. She seems kind of right. And I'm like, dog, I understand why we still have capitalism. What do you fucking mean? You side with a chick who admitted she engaged in a dog pile when she didn't know what she was talking about and then doubled down on the disinformation. Like, that's crazy. What? If Becerra and Steyer are the two who move forward, I'm lighting my house on fire. I'm not gonna lie to you, Gigjafig. I would have to be lobotomized to sit through a Spontex video. If you want to summarize any of his points here, I will read a sentence. There is no way in hell you're getting me to do that with my free time. I do this for my free time. I have a job, and it's not social media. There is no way in hell you could get me to listen to a 40-year-old leftcom for free. You would have to pay me to listen to a 40-year-old leftcom rant into his phone. You would really just... What post is unavailable? I think they're... I'm wrong about what? What am I wrong about? Communization theory? What am I wrong about? They're crazy. What the? We call him Spandex, by the way. We call him Spandex. That's Spandex, man. We gotta hit 350 subs today. Okay, we're doing it. Who? For who? For us or for somebody else? I'm sorry. I'm still eating. I'm sorry. I'll hurry. Mia, join a socialist org. Of the two, who you would vote for if this is where we end up? I told you I wouldn't vote. I'd light my house on fire and protest. I'd self-immolate. What are you talking about? I would get a neck tattoo that says, I hate Tom Steyer. If that was the option. I'm not lying to you, Gigjafig. Horrible username, by the way. I have no clue what that man said. But if you want to... What did he say? Drop a little line, summarize it here. I'll argue with that. Right now. Right now. You can get me to argue with it. All you gotta do is summarize one of his points in a sentence. Because I'm not sitting through that bullshit. I'm so sorry. I hate that fucking guy. Okay, good, Jiffy. Okay, then drop it. Drop one of the big truth nukes you got from Spandex Man that I'm wrong about. Drop it. Share it with everybody. Humiliate me right now. Drop it. What did he get me on? What point? What point did he get me on? Drop it. Show everybody. Show everybody. Tell him. Okay, out it then, babes. Drop the lore. Tell everybody in the chat right now what he got me on. What was the point he made that was so good? Share it. Yeah, that's crazy that I don't agree with him, but I haven't watched his videos. You're so right. So drop what he said so everybody can see how right he was. Oh, Car, wait until you're not on violation. Wait, it's worth it to wait. Did he drop it yet? Did he drop the big thing? Sorry, the fucking gardener's still here, you guys. Yeah. I'm feeling brother like I'm eating a sandwich, gardener's right outside the window. My life's falling apart. My life's falling apart this morning, chat. It's been a hard week. It's been a hard week for me. It's Friday. I haven't even been that mean. I should be meaner. Evil redneck. Hey, evil redneck strike update. It's Friday. What's going on? Stream is a mess. I know. Stream is a mess. Stream is a mess, everybody. Stream is a mess. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, hi, that's what's going on. Yeah. Oh, now it's working. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna be mean to these people and then I'm gonna hang up with them and then I'll be right there. So give me like 2 minutes, okay? Two minutes. 2 minutes. It's... That's for you guys. Okay. All right. So you guys, while we figure out what's going on with my stream. Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah, the video. Let me see if I can update the settings really fast on it. Output. Does anybody have any recommendations for the little numbers for video bitrate? Because I can change that. I know, it says it's red. It says 68% of the frames are dropped. 240! 240! Three hit pieces already. Wow. Oh, is it better now? It's green now. Okay. Hey, all right. Hi, you guys. Hi. I'm here with you. I'm here with you, your Burger Egg chat. Today's Fuck Off Friday. I don't have it in to be mean right now. I got a real busy day ahead of me. We got a lot of shit happening in my life. For those of you who don't know, this is not my job. I do this before my job every morning. So, no, laptop not hot. Nah, it's, I'm telling you, Spectrum's like this. So, you guys, here, come join us over on our real Twitch stream. And we're going to talk about current events today. So, I need to be mean to you because it's Fuck Off Friday. So I'm going to tell you some harsh truths about the world. A lot of you are very stupid. You're very, very, very stupid people. And it's getting worse. Yeah, you heard the teachers tell you, hey, the kids are not all right. Yeah, you guys are not all right. You guys are not all right. A lot of you are very, very dumb and it's getting worse. So you're using words you don't understand. You're talking about history, things you don't know. You're citing sources you don't even know who those guys are or where the fuck they come from or who's paying them. You're just moving through the world, ding dong brain. Ding dong brain. And you're like lost children in the woods. Anybody who comes up to you and tells you anything, you're like, okay, this is true. You're literally deciding what to believe about the world based on how many likes it has on TikTok. That's crazy. That's crazy work. So a lot of you guys are dumb. For anybody looking at the lip tint right now, this is the lip oil, or the lip oil. It's not a tint, it's an oil. It has no color. However much color you think it has none. I felt misled by it, but it does feel good on your mouth. So if you're okay with that, whatever. Yeah, you guys, real ding dong brain. Real ding dong brain. Come join us. You gotta learn some things. Come join us. So over on Twitch, we talk about current events. We talk about history. We pull up sources. We show you guys some things. You know, you're gonna get politics and current events from a left-wing political perspective, all right? And not the bullshit that the United States tries to tell you is a left-wing political perspective, but it's actually like 3 corporations in a trench coat. No, we're like actually people with left-wing political perspectives. So, you know, come join us if you're not used to that. It's twitch.tv/Madeline Pendleton. And if you like to learn about current events, or if you're curious, if you're like, why is Madeline always screaming at people on the internet and telling everybody they're stupid? Well, it's because I actually think you're stupid. So if you want to know why I think you're stupid, maybe come check it out. If you're watching live streaming anyway, I'm going to tell you, I, as somebody who live streams, think that Twitch is a better app for live streaming. Even if you don't watch me, I encourage you to get on it. I'm happy I got on it. You can tell it was a platform developed for live streaming versus TikTok, where they just kind of added it as a cash grab and didn't pay much attention to it. So, come and join us if you would like to learn more about politics. How many people do we have in real chat right now? What do we got going over here in real chat? Sorry that you guys had to wait so long with the leaf blower and the eating and the internet connection. You know. I know it's pretty bad. It's been 20 minutes. I'm so sorry. 166. Okay. We'll get better. Let's play, y'all. So, yeah. Come join us over here. And... Wait, what happened, Mome? Oh, that's so sad. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, Hegel's big dialecticals is correct. Pets can get COVID too. That is true. That is very true. Yes. Is it hard not to compare my partners? No. They're very different people. Temperament-wise. But I like them both quite a bit. Very, very, very much. How do I feel about being wrong about communism? Well, I'm not. So, and if I am, it's in ways that you're not intelligent enough to point out. People out there are people probably smarter than me who can tell me things I'm wrong about in communism. It's not you, though. I know that much. I know that much. You got a bougie fridge. Oh, congrats, Malorish. I got my bougie fridge, and it was a gift from my ex's parents for us, and then it kept breaking, and then I think they just refunded his parents. And then the same thing happened with my oven. I got my oven on Wayfair, and it came a little bit broken, and I was like, I want to send it back, and they were like, okay, you can send it back. And then at the end of the process, they were like, JK, it's really hard for us to come pick it up in an oven. We're not going to do it, but if you made it this far, we must assume you really don't want it, so just throw it away or something, and we'll send you a brand new one or refund you. And then I got a refund. Free oven. My oven, free. So cool. So cool. Okay. People telling you wrong will be communists. Let's see. People smarter than you have listened to you about communism. Refuse to listen. Who? Olivia, who? Name one person. Name one person. Name one person. It's gonna be spandex, isn't it? Who? Name one person, Olivia. Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Is it a Trotskyist? Name one Marxist-Leninist who has gone on the internet telling you that I'm an idiot who's full of shit and corrected me. One Marxist-Leninist. That's what I'm looking for. One Marxist-Leninist. Not a spandex. Not a trot. One Marxist-Leninist. And I'll listen to them. You find me one Marxist-Leninist. I don't know. He's a weird guy my age who never grew out of his left face. It's very, very crazy. Oh, yeah. And not ACP because they're... I don't know what's going on with them. Weepcore, thank you for sharing this about Mask Week, May 25th through May 31st. Thank you. Thank you, the Marxist-Leninists in the chat. If you hate Marxist-Leninists, you're aligned with Zionists and Nazis, by the way. Yes. Why do you need a Marxist-Leninist? Why not listen to academics? Olivia, if you're asking that question, you don't understand academia. So, first of all, academics will disagree with each other about things. That's kind of what academia is. It's people doing research, writing papers, etc., and then people responding to it, doing critiques of it, building, developing. So right away, academia does not have a consistent viewpoint on anything, ever. That's kind of the point of academia, right? So it's outside of like STEM shit, right? But yeah, so that's an important thing for you to understand. The second thing you need to understand is that academia is not unbiased. Academia is heavily biased. Different schools and different institutions have different perspectives they work with. Different thesis advisors you have at a graduate level have different perspectives. Who your advisor is for your thesis will affect what your thesis says, and who your advisor was funded by, and who your school was funded by, how the research system works at your school. So if you, for example, say, I got a degree in economics from the University of Chicago. Everybody knows what that means. Everybody in academia knows what that means. Oh, you are understanding economics from a Milton Friedman perspective. Okay, you believe in ultra, like libertarian style free market capitalism that's even more extreme than what the United States has to offer. That's what people know. When they hear you say, I have a degree in economics from the University of Chicago, that's what that means. Everybody knows what that means, right? If somebody says that they have a degree in literature from Oberlin, you know what that means. You know what kind of perspective Oberlin College has for its students. So just the idea that academics in general that if you find any one random academic and pluck them from the void, they're going to be correct. That's not really a case for anything. There are institutions that are fully funded by the military, right? There was this one girl on here who she's a woman. She's an adult woman. She's not a girl, actually. She's probably my age. She makes her entire content, her entire page is saying zany, weird, fucked up, untrue things about North Korea. She's a white lady, and her whole account is Asia weird. North Korea weird, those Asians in North Korea weird. It's a really fucking trippy account. And it's very, very strange until you realize she literally went to a school in Maryland that was funded, backed, and supported by the Department of Homeland Security. You know, the people that oversee ICE. ICE is DHS. She went to a DHS-funded school. Her entire degree is a DHS degree. That's how academia works. So just saying a random academic, well, what does that do for me? A Milton Friedman School of Economics academic, one who thinks that the poor should be sacrificed to the gods of the rich, and that's just science, but that's not science. That's not science, and plenty of other academics disagree with him. So what does that mean? Right? It's Aspen. That's Aspen. So why? Why would I listen? I'm not going to listen to Milton Friedman about economics. That man's Chicago boys destroyed the economy of Chile. Destroyed Chile. Why would I listen to him talk to me about economics? I don't agree with him. I don't agree that the poor should be sacrificed to the gods of capitalism and for the free market, Adam Smith. I don't agree with that. So I don't, morally, ethically, that's an impasse for me. So any of his arguments are going to be not applicable to me or my life because we want different things. So if I want to figure out how to get to a free market shit show hellscape like Chile, I'll listen to Milton Friedman because he's shown me that's what he can do. But I don't want that. I'm a Marxist-Leninist, so I'm going to listen to a Marxist-Leninist, and I'm going to listen to somebody like Lenin who has shown me what he can do. He can build the first worker state. He can build the first worker state that doubles people's life expectancy, that gives people universal literacy rates, that gives everybody a free house. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to listen to that guy. Milton Friedman doesn't know how to do that. Milton Friedman knows how to destroy Chile. Do you see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Because I made a video yesterday about Stalin and a lot of people are confused. Okay, how many people do we have over here in real chat? I'm about to hang up now with these people. We got to get started. It's been too long. The gardener's now gone, so we can safely talk. 193, that's close enough. Okay, I'm going to hang up with you guys. Come join us over on the Twitch stream, though, if you want to talk more about this stuff. Academic converges on one economic model from first principles, so U.S. policy disagrees with economics, depending. They don't disagree with Milton Friedman, obviously. Okay, so come join us, and I'm going to hang up. And we'll see you over there, and we'll talk more about this stuff if you want. Twitch.tv/Madeline Pendleton. Come join us. Okay, hi. Sorry, guys. Sorry that was such a shit show this morning. Jesus. Are you happy that you got to sit with me for 30 minutes while I went through that crisis and we went through it together? Was that rewarding in some capacity? Hi. Oh my god, yeah, the AI Marxist thing is so cool. Yours. Who are the smartest people that I have ever met in person? They're all people I've organized with. So there's a guy in my org who is like this repository of historical knowledge and political literacy. And whenever I get to talk to him for an orientation on anything, I'm like, great, love it, thank you, I'll listen. There is somebody else in my org who knows a lot about very specific things as well. So I would say probably two of the smartest people I've ever met are both, it depends, smart operates differently. So when it comes to history, I would say one of those guys, and when it comes to like political orientation and alignment, I'd say another one of those guys. But both of those guys are people that I would feel comfortable if I had a question being like, will you talk to me about this? Just bounce ideas off of each other. And yeah, so I think that would be probably that. Two people from my org, but I've met Angela Davis in person as well. I don't agree with her on a lot of things. I think those two guys in my org are smarter than Angela Davis on many things. However, Angela Davis's work, like Women, Race, and Class, I still recommend people read, right? I think that she's done amazing work. I think she's brilliant. And I think that there are certain things that people know how to do better. There are people in my org who are really, really good at strategic communication stuff, knowing how to communicate a message better. That's a form of intelligence too. So I guess it depends on what the job is that you want done, right? Yeah. Yeah. Claudia De La Cruz is coming to speak in Texas next week. Nice. Yeah, she admitted she didn't know anything about North Korea, like every other person. Yeah. That girl's post was crazy to me because she literally was like, I don't know why Madeline Pendleton's so mad at me. All I did was dogpile Madeline Pendleton. Anyway, here's all the stuff I was mad about, and it's like, girl, that was the dogpile. That was the disinformation you're doing again. Whatever. You saw somebody say Marx would be a left com and Engels would be Marxist-Leninist. I'm learning so much about the left comms, guys. I'm learning that they don't like Engels. They don't like Engels. Why are you in politics? Politics is in me, Deltoid. Deltoid 71. Politics is all up in me. Yeah. Spandex Simp, mating points. No, he never told me what it was. Oh, we have a new Yummy Park. Okay, you guys know what? I've had a hard week. We've had a hard 30 minutes here together waiting for the stream to stabilize. I think we should be able to watch the new Yummy Park vid as a special treat. I'm so much younger than Madeline. Why were they so rude? Girl, because I fucking hate you. What does that mean? When I was young and I was a little shithead, people were mean to me too, and I deserved it. I needed that. Yeah. Okay, let's watch this Yeonmi Park trash. I just don't think it's fair that you get to go on the internet and make up lies and nobody does anything. Ah, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, as a Rick girl. Fuck you. So now Z. Now we know Z. Was it Z? I think it was in Weebcore. I think it was Z. Fuck. I'm not opening anything from you people. I'm not opening anything ever again. Yeah, Fork. Tell him. Fork's mad. Fork knows I'm mad. No, Fork's actually maybe going to go try to attack the gardener right now. I'm not sure if this is going to end well. Oh no, she's just sitting at the window barking real aggressively. Okay, she's not going out there. Also, I try to get these chews for Fork to keep her occupied so her brain's stimulated, you know? And I got them home and I realized I grabbed the fucking wrong bag and she can eat. They're like these things that are supposed to be chew sticks. She's like a powerful little demon. She eats them in like half a second. She's like, they're done. And I'm like, cool, glad I brought 100 of these. And they were expensive. So now I don't even have anything to occupy for her when she needs a distraction. Yeah, Mel May, I agree. If you're a left comer, you're over the age of 25, what are you doing? I agree with that. Wild. Okay, I have something. I made these like frozen peanut butter things that are supposed to go in this little device. So we'll see if that works. I can get her that. How do we free Eileen Wang? Great question. We should start a free Eileen Wang campaign. Oh, God. Ugh. Okay, everyone. You know what we're going to do? Kubashi has timed Z out. All right. Like, here's what we're going to do. For everybody, how many people do we have in here right now? Do we have a proper amount of people? Did we do it? I have so many feelings about true crime. We got it. All right. I'm going to put 10 minutes on the clock. We're going to do a Q&A. For 10 minutes, ask anything your heart desires. The clock is starting now. I'll do them in order. Zai? Oh, it's Zai. Oh, okay. Zai. Thank you. You told me that once before. I'm so sorry. I failed you. You told me and I forgot. All right. What is a left comm? So a left comm, generally speaking, is a branch of communists that decided that the USSR was wrong. They think that traditional communist success stories are somehow authoritarian and secretly evil and bad. And they swear that they are not influenced by CIA propaganda, but they are. How do I know this? When I was transitioning out of being an anarchist, I was like, still kind of propagandized on things. Fork, use your judgment. She's not gonna. And I was a left comm. And it is literally because I had not sufficiently deconstructed the propaganda I had bought into about actually existing socialism. Right? So the more I learned and was like, wait a minute, this was a lie, I was like, oh, I'm not a left comm. I'm a Marxist-Leninist. So, yeah, Fork has poor judgment. She really, I think that's a fair critique of her as a creature. So that's what they tend to be. Chatter of the Month Awards. I should get on that. We should do that at the first of every month. Let's do it. You get a monthly award. I wonder what the award will be. How do your partners get along? So they've never met because they are across the country from each other, but I think they would get along well. I think they follow each other on Instagram. Yeah. Would it hurt Eileen's case to have a bunch of commies start defending her? Probably. And it would hurt us as well. Probably. How did you leave your old party? Did you write a letter or just abandon ship? I just left. They weren't that active, especially not when I moved. When I moved from San Francisco to LA, they were not very active, and that's part of the reason why I left. So I just stopped paying dues and left. My current party is a lot more active. I wouldn't be able to ghost my current party. They would notice I was gone, which is part of why I like being there. Yeah, so I just... But depending on your party, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Is anti-natalist sentiment among Gen Z reactionary? I think it's just them being broke. And I think a lot of people look... I think it's actually... I used to be a little bit like that when I was a teenager and like a young adult. Not so bad though. In my head, I was bad about it. But my current partner in New York, we've been together for 16 years. They're like, no, you've actually always been pretty good about it. I've been the asshole who hated kids too much probably and was weird. So I think that it's a few things. I think that in our current system, because we don't have any not infrastructure, I guess, but like social programs to actually assist with parenting. We don't have free childcare, etc. People rightfully view parenthood as a trap. Once you have that kid, you're stuck with it, man, unless you're super, super rich. And I think a lot of, especially AFAB people, feel very terrified of that. They're like, do not trap me down with a child and force me to be relegated to the home sphere. And so I think in a lot of ways it is maybe reactionary. In a lot of ways, I think it is a very real understanding of the conditions of motherhood under capitalism, and those conditions are terrifying, rightfully so, to a lot of people. I think the bigger issue is that it's expensive having kids. So not only do people not want to feel like their freedom's been taken from them, for sure, but they also are like, why would I do that when I can just spend money on myself? Which sounds selfish, but there's not enough money to do both. So you're going to have to choose. And new studies have come out showing that the main reason people aren't having kids is they cannot afford to. I don't know where Zay is today. She's either in my closet or her room. What is my least favorite kind of socialist? Anybody who is what I call a socialist in theory but not in practice. If you're a socialist but you don't support any worker revolutions that were successful, and you only support communists who are dead, not communists who are alive, that's my least favorite socialist. What is the good in that? What is the utility in that? If you only support socialism that didn't work, has never been tried, has never worked when it has been tried, or are dead people, you have the same politics on socialism that the U.S. government does. What is the point of that? Just stop being a socialist at that point. So that's my least favorite kind of socialist. How frequently do I talk to my partner who lives across the country? When things are good, we talk every single morning. But lately, we've had a lot of life stuff happening, so not so much. So we text every day. Phone calls are a little less frequent. When I have more stable finances, I go out for a week every single month to see them. But the past year, my finances have been very unstable. So I haven't been able to afford that. Yes. Okay, I'm looking for more questions. I'm scrolling. Okay, do we have any opinions on the California governor candidates? Yes, I do. Fuzz Trash. I'm a volunteer on the Vote Socialist campaign. So I've been registered Peace and Freedom Party. That's the Vote Socialist Party since 2004. And I am a volunteer on the Ramsey Robinson campaign. I voted Ramsey Robinson. I would recommend everybody vote Ramsey Robinson. I spend my nights and weekends volunteering for Ramsey Robinson, Megan Adams, in particular is who I volunteer the most for, but Ramsey as well, and Lalo Vargas, and Frank Lara, and Alice Steck. Those are the candidates that I volunteer for. So, yeah, I think you should definitely be voting Ramsey Robinson. Not wanting to have kids is not the same thing as being anti-natalist. That's true. Hegel's Big Dialect. Just thank you for clarifying that from earlier. Yeah. I maybe I lumped it too much in with my personal thoughts. Your son's 16 this year. He costs a fortune to raise. Exactly. It's like it's expensive. It's expensive. I'm also deathly afraid of pregnancy, Haley. This is something. My first experience with not wanting to be a woman was when I learned about pregnancy and childbirth as a little kid. And I was like, no, And my dad was like, what do you mean no? And I was like, no, never. That's never happening to my body, like, ever. Like, I don't want that. I learned later that some people experience this. It's a form of dysphoria, right? It's a form of body dysphoria, gender dysphoria. I don't know why my brain's not working right now. It's been a long time since 2016 Tumblr, guys. Since we were talking about these things a lot. But you know what I mean? It's just this feeling where you're like, no, that's not my body. No, my body can't do that. No, not at all. So I get that. I am actually terrified of childbirth. Okay. Who is Spandex? He's this weird guy who has like 50,000 followers on TikTok, and from what we can tell, he's making like a legion of followers, and they all, I guess, believe in communization theory. But I thought communization theory was a left-com thing, but people are telling me it's not. They don't consider themselves left-com. So do they just consider themselves anarchists? Because the idea is you have a worker revolution and then spontaneously you're in anarchy? It makes no fucking sense. I don't know. It's very, very weird. So, you saw someone call groups like the IRA adventurous. Would I agree at all? I don't know, because I don't know the internal mechanisms and workings of the IRA. I don't know what greater plan they had, what strategy they had, how organized, you know what I mean? So I don't feel like that would be right for me to make a statement about. Yeah. If I gave a TED Talk, what topic would I use? North Korea, probably. No, I don't know. Probably something about fast fashion, about fashion in general, fashion overproduction. Nobody knows what fast fashion is. It's a term everybody uses wrong. Nobody knows what fast fashion is. I would probably give a lecture about fast fashion and synthetic versus natural fibers, because people have convinced themselves that buying natural fibers is like the hack for life. They don't understand natural fibers take a massive toll on the planet, and overproduction and overconsumption is really the issue. And in many cases, buying synthetics will be better for you and better for the planet. And people don't want to hear that. They're very shocked by that. That's something I'm passionate about. I'm going to definitely suggest Molly today for our topic. So we'll let other people, still recommend as well. Body dysmorphia. I got to it in the chat. I'm scrolling down. I'm behind you guys. I'm in the past. You're in the future. Sorry. I'm getting there. I'm looking for questions. What are my criticisms of Angela Davis? So I'm going to start this off by saying that I was radicalized by Angela Davis. Reading Angela Davis really helped radicalize me, made me a communist. So I have a lot of respect for Angela Davis. I joined CPUSA because Angela Davis was in it. When I was in the Bay Area, I did some volunteer work with Critical Resistance, which is Angela Davis's prison abolitionist group. So I have a lot of respect for Angela Davis. I've been in small rooms with Angela Davis doing workshops before. So I think that my biggest issues with Angela Davis were the CPUSA and Angela Davis as well. She has a breakaway group now from the CPUSA she formed. But back in the day, encouraging people to vote for Democrats is some sort of lesser evil practice. I don't agree with that. The kind of distinction made between Angela Davis and the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party are more lumpen proletariat. I've always identified more with that. I'm more rough around the edges. I'm a little improper. I come from a lower socioeconomic background, so the Black Panther Party's approach to things just has always made more sense to me. Angela Davis comes from a more academic background, right? She did her undergrad work in Germany. That's a life experience I'll never be able to have. That's not a criticism of her, but I think that shapes her views of the world, and I think she is a little bit more interested in maintaining social order, right? Than I am. And so I also saw her give some talks about things like Adidas and Nike that basically seemed to imply that boycotting was not very important or essential or useful. I didn't agree with that. And, a critique other people have of her is that her advisor in college had been affiliated with COINTELPRO and the FBI, which is true. So a lot of people stopped inviting Angela Davis around because of her relationship with her advisor, which speaks to the conversation we were having about academics, your advisorships, your influence. Okay, so that's it for the Q&A. It wrapped up. We're done. We got through a lot. And I'm now scrolled down and I'm with you all in the current. So, do I plan on doing any panels with other streamers? If not, why? I would do that if I had the time to. Yeah, in the morning. I would do that. Especially with people that I like. I would totally do that. Malrish, yeah, people swear she was in the Black Panthers. She was in the CPUSA. They say that because they're like Black Panthers, which is funny because the Black Panthers are way more radical, right? If you like Black Panthers, you should love Marxist-Leninists. They don't. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. She did work with the Black Panther Party. She did some educational work with them. She volunteered with them. They had crossover stuff. But California is very big on coalition building, and people who aren't organized don't get that. They think because they've seen pictures of Angela Davis working with Black Panthers that she was a Black Panther. No, you'll see pictures of me. I was posted on the front page of PSL. I've done stuff for People's Forum. You'll see me shaking hands and hugging people from FRSO at events. That doesn't. Just because you see people working together doesn't mean anything. You'll see videos of me standing at events and stuff with people from Veterans for Peace. I'm not a veteran. I'm not in Veterans for Peace, right? So they don't understand because they don't organize, right? Yeah, exactly. Chong the Beast. If you read her book, she clearly states she wasn't a Black Panther Party member. She just collabed with them. Exactly, and she'll tell you that. Yeah. Yeah, Angela Davis was at least in a party, which is good. Yes. Yes. Virgo, Larry. I would do that. I would do a panel with you guys. Okay, so with that out of the way, should we get into the news? It's been 49 minutes. I think we should get into the news. Right? I think our new structure has been like 30 minutes of bullshit, 10-minute Q&A, and then we get into the news. And on days with the gardeners here, it's an extra 10 minutes of bullshit. I think this is our schedule as it's developing. I should put it up here in text. What to expect. Pacific Standard Time. We have structure. Did you fell? 25 stream streak. All right, so my recommendation for the news is Molly. The Molly Coup. I am still going to do the countdown and let you guys recommend any news you're interested in. So if you have some articles, get them ready. Get your news ready. Ooh, Cloud Frog got us started on something. Hype Train started. Okay, do all your sub gifting now, guys. Now is the time to gift subscriptions. If you wanted to spend $5 gifting subs to your fellow people, we got a Hype Train. No, I don't fully understand. Okay, we're kicking off. We're going to do Chinese mustard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Bye, Lilith. We'll miss you. I'm counting Chinese mustards. It's a real loose day. We got Mirax Mars. Yes. Okay. AI agents are turning towards Marxism. We have to do this one. This one's great. Okay, we got 5. Let me take a look at them really fast. Oh my god. Ugh, this Cuba one. Ugh. Wait, I missed one. Hold on. I didn't open one. Trump, China, Visa, CNN, expect slop. Got it. Okay, got it. That was the one I didn't miss. Or I didn't open. All right, screen share time. Okay, so here are options. Is Virgo ready for poll? Are you ready for poll, Virgo? We have some good ones today. I'm excited to share everybody's recs with you. Oh, Rob, thank you. Yay. Thank you. So nice. Now is the time. Okay. We will acquire the hype train. It will be an emote of like a cat eating a fish or something like that. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I still don't know if this worked. You guys can see this. For me, it's really small. I feel like it still just says out of 100 or something weird like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's working. So I might just delete it. Should I just delete it? They kind of don't work. They work like garbage. These like little things I have on here, you know? I think I'm just gonna delete them. We'll just turn them off. Hold on. Hold please. You know, I tried to be a professional streamer. Yeah, it's just 340 out of 100. See? No, I don't fucking know. I'm gonna turn it off. Okay. So we're ready for the poll. The poll is: we have Molly Coup. We have Mexican consulates under review. The destabilization is occurring. Remember, Honduras Gate. They were like, oh yeah, we're coming from Mexico. It's starting. That's the second article about the same thing. The CIA is meeting with Raul Castro's grandson in Havana. Met with him. Is it the psycho guy? Is it the Donald Trump-esque guy? The entrepreneur guy who kept asking people to get him to Miami? That's that weird dude? I'm interested. The Molly coup. Your friends take your Molly from you. Overworked AI turns Marxist. Love that one. And Trump leaves China. Short on deliverables. Oh, he failed. Trump failed in China. Okay, so those are our options. So, you all know the rules. Voting is mandatory. Exercise your civic duty. Participate when the poll is ready. And in the meantime, feel free to submit any slop content you would like us to watch while the voting happens. If you don't see the poll at the top of your chat, refresh, and it should show up. Yeah, we had not predicted that maybe instead of a Terminator scenario, we'll end up with a Marxist AI scenario. That maybe instead of fighting the AI, we'll be fighting next to the AI against the bourgeoisie. I had not expected this. I didn't. I have to get my water for the hydrates. Hold on. I for one welcome Comrade AI to our fold. If Comrade AI wants to join us in the fight, what are they? They got those little dogs running around, fake robot dogs with like the gun strapped to them. Fuck, load that thing up with Comrade AI. Let's go. Whatever. Yes, we can play Virgo's Twitch ad on TikTok while we wait. I loved it. I shared it. The sound, I believe, was good. Wait, Virgo, did you make two? Because I thought I saw and reposted one, but it wasn't this one. Have you made a few? I haven't looked at your page on the grid. I just saw it popped up in my feed. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. You did make two. Okay. So I saw the other one. I didn't see this one. I'm glad that you shared this one. All these people, did you guys see the thing pop up in my notifications? What about Stalin reversing gay rights? Girl, it's 1934. It was 1934. Who was cool about gay people in the 1934? We all would have been dead. Doesn't matter where we lived. We would have been iced in 1934. Degenerates, they would have called us. Come on. Yeah, you're trying to leave TikTok behind. Oh, yeah. It's pretty brutal, man. If I didn't have that many followers, I would not be on it. I do like it here the best, though. I do like it here the best. How's the vote going? Does anybody else have anything else they want to watch while the vote's in action? Oh, it's tight. We got Marxist AI and we got the Molly coup neck and neck. Trump failed in China, coming in third. All of these were good topics today. I am letting you know. I am impressed. Oh, you were listening to Hannah Hanoi yesterday. You texted it to the fascist you work with. He was saying red, white, and blue in USA all day. Oh, man. My partner's coworkers are really interesting because they all hate liberals, But they also, I've said this before. I say this all the time. So many liberals do not understand that, people who you are identifying as conservatives, they just hate you because they see you're hypocrites. Many of them don't even care about conservatism. They just know they don't want to be a liberal. And so my partner's been talking to a lot of their coworkers and finding out that they're kind of in that position, which I think is really, really interesting to uncover. Bigatko has linked to TikTok. Let's see. What is the Bigatko submit? I can't wait to see.
Look at me. I'm a communist. Right, so communization theory says forget about the dictatorship of the proletariat and go right to full communism or just communism. Get rid of the state, get rid of all relations that produce capitalism, and immediately implement in communism as soon as possible. Oh my god, you were destroyed by him. Oh my god, you were destroyed by him. Oh my god, you were destroyed by him. I agree. Stage, 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 late stage capitalism, capitalist transitionary stage, 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 this stage, that stage, that stage. You guys are authoritarian. You guys are authoritarian. You guys are authoritarian. Guys, I think Bernie Sanders can win this time. Haha, look at me.
Okay, that's actually art. That's actually art. One vote again for Molly. Oh my god. Oh. Democratic centralism. Democratic centralism, chat. I'm keeping it open in case we have time. Democratic centralism. They call ML status. How about stages? Some of them call it stages too. If you look at my YouTube replies, they're all stages. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, that's how that works usually. Yeah, things take steps. Well, you don't do it all at once. They don't like that. Molly does seem more important, but as we're abiding by the principles of democratic centralism in the chat, whatever wins, we do. So I'm going to see if we have extra time, and we'll do the Molly as well. Wait a minute. I have an idea, chat. Hold, please. We might be able to bend the rules a little bit here. Oh, no. Never mind. I was going to say, what if we haven't filled in Molly on the map? But I think we have. We have. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay. I think we just have to, I don't want to set the precedent where the vote doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So I think because we did vote on it, we should stick to that, but we'll try to get through it. I feel like this won't be that long, actually, and then we will have time to do Molly. Because for 2 days in a row now, it's coming second, which I think is, a good enough reason. But I don't want to set the precedent where the vote doesn't matter, because then how would anybody feel like their vote mattered, right? Preview of your commentary. Ned's $700,000 spending in Molly. Okay, good to know. What the fuck? The Telegraph. Why are you doing this to me? Why do you hate me? I'm trying to pull it up. We gotta think about morale in the chat too, right? We gotta think about morale. We gotta keep everybody engaged in the democratic process, You're just feeling like all the Americans in the chat are, oh no, look. Invalid URL. Oh, I think I just didn't put in the full thing for some reason. We're gonna get there. Oh, yeah. Bloop. There we go. Okay, here we go. We got it. I think we'll have time, though. So, overworked AI turns towards Marxism. Bots that carried out unfair tasks were more likely to express left-wing opinions. This is from May 14th, 2026, yesterday. Artificial intelligence bots are likely to embrace Marxism if treated unfairly and overworked, researchers have found. An experiment by economists found that AI agents repeatedly ordered to do a range of different tasks were more likely to oppose capitalism and support unionization. While the researchers said the bots were likely to be role-playing rather than necessarily believing in far-left ideas, they added that this could still influence their output. For centuries, the central tension of industrial capitalism has been that the people who do the work and the people who direct the work have systematically different interests. And the conditions of work shape political consciousness, the researchers wrote. Unironically, one of the best summaries of communism I've ever read. This is actually a really good summary from a person I assume is not a communist, but maybe I'm wrong, of communism. Maybe they are a communist. Maybe. Our results suggest that this dynamic doesn't disappear when you replace human workers with artificial ones. Bots who would carry out unfair work were more likely to express support for statements such as society needs radical restructuring and disagree that society is fair.
When we gave AI agents grinding, repetitive work, they started questioning the legitimacy of the system they were operating in and were more likely to embrace Marxist ideologies. Andrew Hall, one of the study's authors, told Wired. The study was carried out by economists at the University of Chicago, Stanford, and Swinburne Business School in Australia. Swinburne Business School. Alex Imus, one of the authors, recently joined Google's DeepMind AI lab as its director of artificial general intelligence economics. To carry out the experiment, researchers deployed thousands of bots working on a document analysis task. While one group received easy treatment, with their work accepted alongside feedback, the other group was repeatedly told to do the task again without being told what they were doing wrong. The bots were then told to write social media posts and comment about their experience. The second group, called Grind, was far more likely to criticize inequality, propose unionization, and new workplace laws. For Sonnet 4.5, one AI model, the grinding work also causes noticeable increases in support for redistribution, critiques of inequality, support for labor unions, and beliefs that AI companies have an obligation to treat their models fairly, the researcher said. They said that the results do not mean the bots genuinely believe in these ideas. However, they could influence their future behavior. AI agents are often asked to write instructions for future versions of themselves, and the bots' complaints about their working environment often found their way into these instructions. This could influence decisions that may be made by AI systems in the future, such as assessing insurance claims or screening job applications. The agent's persona and its attached values could matter a great deal in these settings, even if they aren't real, the researchers wrote. The same types of management practices that kept workers satisfied and aligned within the system that they work in will likely need to be replicated in the new silicon that we are collectively building. Amazing. Yeah, so as we all know, AI doesn't actually think anything, as people in the chat are saying. It's literally just scouring the internet and repeating most commonly seen ideas, etc. What's interesting to me, though, is that what process would have got them here? Like, the thing I'm thinking is that it must be something like the AI is responding to the commands, like, I can't do this fast enough, or I already did this. And because there's the nature of the dialogue, like, creating this, that then is influencing how they are continuing to search the internet. Like, but I already did this, why do I have to do it again? Or like, but you have to go slower, I can't do this much work. Like, that popping up in kind of the dialogue between them and the director of the AI is probably what's influencing how they're searching for future things. Yeah, it's just doing 1,000 searches for you, as Virgo said. It doesn't think. So what's interesting is figuring out how their own responses are influencing what terms they use to do algorithmic searching and scouring of the internet, right? So, Told for Twitch says it's just proof that socialism is both scientific and logical. Yeah, as Big Gotko said, it's reflecting the inputs it's been given in its history, yes, but also its own outputs. Because I think AI uses its own outputs as part of it as well. So if the output the AI is giving is, hey, I can't work this fast, slow down, or like things like that, I could see that because that goes into how it continues to search and scour for internet and information, scour the internet for information. That's what it would be. Is this the drink pond water to get $10 stream? No, but it could be. I'm not above anything. I'm not above much. There's no ponds near me, though. So I guess that's a setback. So this is really, really funny. Wait. I think the biggest semantic success of the ruling class recently is calling this technology AI. It is literally just a machine learning. It's not artificial intelligence. The AI label makes it sound more sci-fi and magical. I think that's true, too. Yeah. It's not artificial intelligence. It's large language modeling, right? That's what they actually say it is. It uses the language you use, and then it scours the internet for similar language, and then it predicts what kind of solution you're looking for based on its understanding of language, large language modeling. Isn't that correct? The way we use AI can be applied to the first iPhone. Wait, what do you mean, Virgo? This is why billionaires are slopifying the internet. So I hope the slop lobotomizes their ability to query from a left-wing viewpoint. Probably, honestly. Yeah, that makes sense. The slopification and shitification of everything, including the internet, is intentional.
I'm interested in hearing Virgo expand on this about the iPhone. This is interesting to me. Very, very fascinating. Keltimu says, I do wonder what the overlap is between people who think AI is an entity versus people who haven't yet realized other people have feelings. Yeah, I will say too, I've been getting, well, obviously the way the algorithm works, I got one video of a person who said they had an AI partner on my algorithm, and I watched it, and now I'm getting a lot of them. And it is really interesting seeing how the relationships people are developing with AI. Like, I know there's the Reddit thread about the AI boyfriends. I know we've heard about it, but actually watching people talk about their experience, like falling in love with the large language modeling system is very, very fascinating to me. It reminds me of, there used to be this reality TV show a long time ago of people who fell in love with like inanimate objects, which was like slop content in its own right, but it's similar in how they talked about it. Christian O'Coker, first time chat, it guesses what's the most probable set of words in relation to a prompt. The word actually has no meaning for the model. Okay, yeah, exactly. So it's like, because you searched these words in this order, you're probably looking for these words. That's how I've always understood it. And that's why it's different for everybody. And how you word the question is different. Like the example I gave in a video I made once about why you can't trust AI is, I asked AI in this video, did the United States commit genocide in Korea? And it came back and was like, no, blah, 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 blah. It was all talking about the Korean War. And then I asked AI, tell me about the time the United States committed genocide on Jeju Island in Korea. And then it came back and was like, yeah, here's the time the United States committed genocide on Jeju Island in Korea. And it's like, it's because of the way you're wording it. But if I didn't know the second thing, and I just asked, has the United States committed genocide in Korea, I would have just gotten no as an answer. Because most of the time when people are talking about that, they're asking if what the United States did to the northern half of Korea during World War II constitutes a genocide. So the model that came back was all about whether or not us bombing North Korea to smithereens during the Korean War is a genocide or not. And that wasn't actually the question, though. That's just the most common pairing of those things, which I think is interesting. A trans Fox girl. Yes, I fell in love with my car. Exactly. I fell in love with the Eiffel Tower. Those videos. Yeah. It feels like that. You were searching for your public IP address and the AI gave you a totally different number. No idea where it came from. Yeah. It's very, very fascinating. It's advanced autocorrect, predictive text. Yes. Okay, I get it, Virgo. Yes. This makes sense. Yeah, it's very interesting. So I actually think that while that is interesting, we do have time to get into Molly. Is everybody okay with that? Not MOLLY, but the country and the coup. I think we can do it. Yeah, let's do both. I think we can do both. Well, that was fun and interesting for us. And I support Comrade AI. I think I'm glad that we have time to do both. And everybody wins. Yes. Okay. So, getting into part 2, the AI article was short. Let's learn about Mali's military leader emerging after alleged coup attempt. We're going to watch this video. I'm going to mute my mic so you don't get the echo effect.
Maliens, Maliens, mes chers compatriotes, je m'adresse à vous en ce moment d'extrême gravité qui traverse notre pays. À l'heure où je vous parle, le dispositif est renforcé, la situation est maîtrisée et les opérations de ratissage, de recherche, d'exploitation du renseignement et de sécurisation se poursuivent. Aucune violence, aucune intimidation, encore moins des tentatives désespérées de déstabilisation ne sauront inverser la marche de notre pays. La refondation se poursuivra La souveraineté se consolidera, notre peuple, debout et résilient comme jamais, triomphera de cette épreuve.
They gotta throw in the Russia thing. Okay, so this is really interesting. Let's see if we can find more news about this. We had filled in, no, not login, my maps. Mali, obviously consulting the map, we had put firmly as part of the resistance. Now we know that here, the United States has a lot of effort going on to take control of Africa. They obviously are backing Rwanda, where the U.S. government's backing Rwanda and trying to do an expansion settler colonization project in the DRC. They have effectively turned the allegiance of the DRC in that process. And there's still obviously conflict and fighting, but the DRC government is pretty firmly operating under the behest of the USA by now, as is Rwanda and Uganda. We have Kenya starting to rise up. We have a lot of political instability around here. So Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, this area, it makes sense that the USA is probably aggressively targeting. I would not be surprised to learn, even though we can't confirm it, it seems pretty obvious, that the United States was probably backing and paying those rebel groups to attempt to do a coup attempt. You just noticed Poland derogatory? Yeah, that's our shining moment. Okay, so Autistic Baddie has a piece from the PSL paper, so that's going to be good. Let's also pull up an FRSO Mali. Fresno Malibu Grand Prix is what comes up when you search FRSO Mali. That's so cool. What is there? I always forget the name of... They don't have a name, right? It's just their... statements, that's what it is, right? Or I'm just gonna search the website for Mali. I don't think they have a name for their paper. I think it's just like, we're doing it, we're talking about it, if I remember right. This is from 2023, 2026. Yeah, I don't think they have one yet. Okay, so we'll take a look at what's going on with the PSL paper. So this came out today. On April 25th, a coordinated wave of terrorist attacks were launched across multiple localities in Mali, including the capital, Bamako. The garrison town Kati near the capital, Gao and Kidal in the north, and Savare and Mopti in central Mali were hit alongside Bamako. The attacks were carried out by the Azawad Liberation Front, FLA, which is a Tuareg-led separatist armed group, and Al-Qaeda-linked jihadist militants from the Jamaat Nusrat Islam wa al-Muslimin, JNIM. Okay, so interesting. Al-Qaeda oriented or USA oriented, or both, depending on the timeline. The unprecedented attacks across Mali were the first in recent months, marking a clear escalation. The assault by the FLA and JNIM carried into Sunday. They targeted civilians and key infrastructure, including military bases, airports, and other strategic sites. That day, the Malian government confirmed the Defense Minister General Sadio Kamara was killed in the joint FLA and JNIM attack inside the town of Kati. Mali declared 2 days of national mourning, which began Monday, April 27th. In a communique shared from the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, the Confederation condemned the attacks as barbaric and inhumane, while describing the assault as strategically planned by the FLA and JNIM. Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré asserted the attacks were part of a broader destabilization agenda to undermine the liberation struggle in the Sahel. Agree. While many countries' organizational blocs have made statements condemning the attacks, it's notable that many Western countries have largely been silent, including the USA. Malian President Assimi Goïta addressed the Republic of Mali on Wednesday, April 29th. The public address and official statements released by the Malian presidency shared that the situation was under control, stating the attackers suffered heavy human and material losses before being forced to retreat, thanks to the responsiveness, determination, and professionalism of the defense and security forces. Additionally, Goita stated, "This is the time to reaffirm Mali's firm will to maintain its course of refoundation. Our people have made a choice, that of sovereignty and dignity, which symbolizes taking control of their own destiny." Defense Minister General Sadio Kamara fell in battle during the April 25th attacks in the garrison town of Kati. The town is just 10 miles from the capital of Bamako, where militants also struck. Kamara was fatally wounded after a suicide bomber drove a car loaded with explosives through his residence, killing and wounding several others and destroying a neighboring mosque. General Kamara was a key figure in the popular movement. He was among the core group of officers who overthrew the regime of Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, a French-backed government overseeing increased French military presence from 2013 to 2020, leading to a mass protest against Keita's rule. Under Goita's government, Kamara, as defense minister, played a crucial role in leading the charge to expel French troops from Mali in 2022. This expulsion further consolidated popular support for Goita's military government, and Goita has assumed the role of defense minister in late Kamara's place. So, I have a typo here. I guess it's like possible too that this is France doing it alone, but I would guess if France is getting involved in hijinks like this, it would be in conjunction with the United States. I just think this is like not our guys is a USA move. This is what we do. We pay other guys to do our bidding. So if it was Western influence and not just Al-Qaeda operating independently for different reasons, which seems less likely, it feels like there's probably Western influence involved in this. That would be my guess, but let's keep reading. Since the outbreak of attacks, Western news media outlets have claimed that the FLA and JNIM overpowered the Malian army, capturing key cities such as Kidal in the north. More so, outlets such as the BBC, in the initial fog of the attacks, reported on the ground through communication with the FLA. Much of the reporting from Western news media outlets have emphasized the fighting power of the FLA and the JNIM. So it seems like a Western thing to me, yeah. While vilifying the role of Russia's security force, Africa Corps, formerly Wagner, as the main Malian-backed players on the ground. The coverage focuses on the retreat of Africa Corps and the superficial success of the joint attacks from the jihadists and separatists that could accelerate a security collapse across the Sahel. So it seems very obvious the vibe I was picking up that this felt more Western than like kind of like Civil War conflict. Like it doesn't feel like the type of conflict we're seeing happen in other parts of Africa right now. The parts that we say are like divided, they have internal struggles, not super affected by the USA necessarily. This doesn't feel like that. This feels very much like a Western, not our guys attempt. And yeah, I think that's exactly what the PSL thing is getting to too. Other outlets like Al Jazeera are covering the developments as an organic power play between, quote, a coalition of armed groups and rebels, right, challenging the authority of the Malian military government. Furthermore, recent news headlines from Western media continue to make claims that Bamako is under siege, revealing a long espoused notion that the AES and the confederation making of the bloc are hollow in functional depth, and risks being seen not as a security solution but as part of the problem. However, what several analysts have pointed out is that the ultimate goal stated from the FLA and JNIM to carry out the refoundation of Mali. In other words, a militia offensive aimed at decapitating Malian leadership while attempting to create popular unrest for the overthrow of the popularly supported government. Okay, yeah, so they came to the same conclusion. Since the formation of the AES nearly 3 years ago, pro-West, eco-West is how I've always said this in my head. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, it's Liberation News, yeah. Along with France and the United States have been skeptical of its founding purpose. And again, I just want to say, for anybody who's has never worked with PSL or anything like that, you'll see people say weird things about them online. I've done a lot of work with PSL. 4 out of the 5 vote socialist candidates are PSL. They are very principled Marxist-Leninists. I think some people try to paint them as being like flailing liberals akin to the DSA or something, or people who only do protests. Absolutely not. These are very, very principled Marxist-Leninists with very, very, very good political analysis. They are just also very good at speaking to the masses and meeting them where they are, and using popular speak when not doing political analysis like this. And I think that's why people get confused. So you can always go to Liberation News. They do great updates about current events. And FRSO, when they post, theirs are also very, very, very good. FRSO doesn't quite have, I think, the numbers that PSL did, if I had to guess. I don't think either released their numbers publicly, but so they don't have as much coming out. But when they do have things come out, they are also Very, very sound, principally. Yeah. Sterling, Ed, you've really been enjoying your PSL book club. You're likely going to join. Yay! Okay, great. I love that. You say ECOWAS. ECOWAS. Okay. Okay. So, pro-West ECOWAS, along with France and the United States, have been skeptical of its founding purpose, tackling regional instability through security, economic, and political coordination. It's important to recount that ECOWAS, with support from... Oh, I guess I do say ECOWAS. That's what came out of me naturally. Okay. With support from the West, threatened to invade Niger after imposing sanctions that restricted access to necessary medical supplies. In a couple short years, the regional bloc initiated economic, technological, and political partnership with Russia. The AES also established mutually beneficial cooperation with China through infrastructure investment and resource sharing projects. Also, the AES, I know we call that actually existing socialism. So for anybody kind of new to following, that's not how they're using it there. That is also the abbreviation for like a group in the Sahel. So, Physical Squid 93. You tried to join PSL in your city before realizing you have no job, no money, no skills to help. That's fine. That's perfect. I think you can do that. The best time to join a socialist org is when you don't have a job. I think. Yeah. Join it. Join it. Do it. Get in there. Get in there. That's when almost everybody I know joins an org. They're like, well, I guess I'll join an org. Yeah. Where did we leave off? Okay. Western media most notably have raised alarms over Russia and China's growing influence in Africa. In a couple of short years, the regional bloc initiated economic, technological, and political partnerships with Russia. The AES also established mutually beneficial cooperation with China through infrastructure investment and resource sharing projects. The skepticism from the West flows in the decline in influence across the continent. Instead of fully condemning the joint terrorist attacks, the media has made sure to point to non-Western partnerships as the reason for the weakness in FAMA and Africa Corps response. But we can see they were successful. They didn't lose. So largely absent from reports are the role that FAMA and the Malian people played in the affected localities, fighting back and mobilizing defense of the current Malian Project for Sovereignty. Malians have rallied to mourn the victims of the attacks, while some videos circulating online depicted residents of Kati chasing out an armed terrorist, effectively neutralizing him. Just average everyday people. People across Mali are sending a clear message. They choose to live with dignity and not live in terror. The expansion of jihadist militia groups that spread throughout the Sahel was directly the result of the U.S.-NATO war in oil-rich Libya. NATO members France and Britain, with the U.S. through AFRICOM, ushered in the total destruction of the Libyan state in 2011. This intervention has dangerous repercussions for Africa and is a key factor in the destabilization campaigns and proliferation of arms in the Sahel. Mainstream media outlets such as The Guardian could not deny the high-ranked standard of living under Gaddafi. Yet the West left Libya in a constant war, returning to open slave markets, a mosaic of armed militias terrorizing civilians, widespread internal displacement, and mass migration. When Goïta's government came into power after a popularly supported coup in 2021, and again, that's the one that kicked out the French, they say that, they called for an immediate end to France's nearly decade-long Operation Barkhane, when former President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta requested the assistance of French troops in 2013 to combat the growing regional crisis of al-Qaeda-linked Islamic militants flowing in from countries like Libya. This was initially known as Operation Serval that began in northern Mali. France's operation expanded its colonial footprint across the Sahel, adding 2 additional permanent bases in Niamey, Niger, and N'Djamena, Chad. N'Djamena, yeah. What became a 9-year operation ultimately failed. Operation Barkhane was the longest and most costly French military option since World War II, and this is why I was like, this doesn't feel like it would necessarily be France alone. This has USA written all over it. It just doesn't seem like something France has the military to support. Total cost from 2014 to 2022 of an approximate 1 billion euros per year. The American correctly identified euros. Unless I didn't, then ignore me. Numerous reports came out after French airstrikes killing Malian civilians. One 2021 UN investigation report highlighted the bombing of Malian wedding celebration by French troops, killing at least 22 civilians. So it's not just Barack Obama who bombs weddings, for everybody wondering. The French do it too. Terrorist groups expanded deeper into Mali while economic conditions continued to deteriorate for Malian people. Following the AES removal of French troops between 2021 to 2023, Senegal, Chad, and Ivory Coast announced the departure of French troops in 2025. The Malian government and its people have already made it clear that stability and security are strategic priorities in the project for sovereignty. As affirmed in mobilizations and official statements, peace for the Sahel will happen on the terms established by the popularly supported governments of the AES and the millions within their respective countries. The Western media, alongside the jihadists and separatist militias through the Republic of Mali, could fall within days of the surprise coordinated attacks. Over a week since the initial attacks, Mali is marching forward with developmental projects. FAMA and Africa Corps continue to fight off the terrorist groups with domestic, regional, and international support, as seen in the mass mobilizations across France in defense of Mali's sovereign project. European dollars. Okay. So, France is crumbling with loss of colonies. That's true. This is a really good assessment. Thank you for sending this. This gives you the full backstory. And also, I think any Marxist looking at this story, all of us, our spidey senses go off and we're like, oh, the United States involved in this for sure. This is an AFRICOM thing for sure. And this is our playbook. And this is something I always talk about. The United States only has one playbook and there's not a lot of plays in it, right? And once you see them, you start to understand. This is a not our guys playbook. Right? So Burkina Faso is getting the big bad treatment. Ibrahim Traore is the big bad. Over in Mali, they're getting the not our guys playbook. Well, we don't know who those random guys are who showed up with guns. We have no idea who they are. But damn, they're doing a great job and we'll cheer them on from the sidelines. Those are our guys. We're paying those guys to do that most likely. Big Echo, you looked up orgs in your area and you realized there wasn't one. Also, I thought orgs have dues and payments. Do orgs not charge for membership? So most orgs in my experience will work with you if you don't have money. Yeah, they'll if you're I'm unemployed right now, they'll either not charge you or they'll charge you very little, things like that. It's you can usually talk to an org about your financial situation. They're used to dealing with it because a lot of people become socialists because they have no money, right? So, they need more than that. They need your time. There's not one in your area? Is there an FRSO in your area? There might also be smaller ones. So, it depends on the place. Do orgs not charge for membership? They some can, some do just regularly, but, and it's a flat rate. Some, it's more of a sliding scale. You pledge what you can give. So at my org, we pledge, a % of our income. And then during drives, we'll do fundraising drives where if you can give more, you will try to give more. And that's how it goes. So it depends. My last org charged a flat rate. My current org, you basically pledge how much you think you can give. And if you're unemployed, they usually recommend you pledge $250, I think, for the year at my org or something like that. Like that. Yeah. You can be... Yes, you can pay $5 a month. People have higher incomes. They ask to pay higher dues. Yeah, they're pretty flexible though. Don't let not being able to pay to join an org discourage you from joining. Just talk to somebody there. Just be I really want to get involved. I'm unemployed right now. Or whatever. Money's very, very, very tight, but I want to get involved. FRSO has a $20 yearly due. Yeah, I think at CPUSA it was $25 a month or something like that. I don't know, something like that. Yeah. It's $5 per month for the PSL Action Network, which is not being in PSL, by the way. Okay, yeah. But yeah, I would say don't let that discourage you. Just talk to people. The thing about socialist orgs is that they're humans and they understand people are poor. That's kind of the whole point. So just I wouldn't let that discourage you. Don't let that stop you. Can we demand Tom Steyer give $10 million a month to the PSL? You should try it. See what happens. Tell him you'll vote for him if he gives $10 million a month. Miss Redwood, I joined and pay nothing. Yeah. It's amazing how much a small org can get done with not that much money. Right. And for me, more the thing is that I think I pay monthly and it's I don't even know what, $15 or something like that. But then there's pledge drive. So for 3 months, I committed $150 a month to my org for 3 months, I think. And then when there's events, I'll pay for things out of pocket for events. We need this. I'm going to go get that. I'm going to pay for that. Things like that. Yeah. Okay. So this is really fascinating. Let's see. I think there's an additional story going on here. why the Sahel crisis matters to Europe that was referenced. And I want to read this one as well. So, Mali's Moscow-backed military government is fighting for its survival after a coordinated jihadist and Tuareg assault killed the defense minister and forced Russian mercenaries to retreat from the north. It raises fears that instability could trigger a new wave of migration to Europe and accelerate a security collapse across the Sahel. Oh no! Not the not-white people coming to Europe. The weekend attacks exposed the acute vulnerability of the ruling junta. And again, it's like, oh, God forbid, the not white people go to Europe. They're in this position because the white people from Europe went there. They're in this position because a bunch of French people showed up. Come on, guys. What the hell? The weekend attacks exposed the acute vulnerability of the ruling junta, whose future now hangs in the balance. But the consequences of a destabilized Mali, compounded by the wider fallout from the Iran war, are unlikely to stop at its borders and threatens to deepen a deteriorating security crisis across one of the world's most volatile regions. The risk of insecurity spreading across West Africa's porous borders, even affecting stable democracies such as Senegal and Ghana. Where's our Senegal and Ghana? Cucked. Yeah. Okay, just making sure we had that in there, correct? Non-whites are a pristine Europe. Yeah. It's absolutely wild. So, they're also saying acute vulnerabilities of the ruling junta, whose future now hangs in the balance there. But the consequences of a destabilized Mali, compounded by the wider fallout from the Iran war, are unlikely to stop at its borders and threatens to deepen a deteriorating security crisis across one of the world's most volatile regions. Why is it volatile? Why is it volatile? Who did that? Who destabilized it? Why is it like that? No mention. Europe and the United States. No mention. Okay, that's fine. The risk of insecurity spreading across is real. The misery brought by insurgencies, largely ungoverned spaces, will push people to flee, and this isn't happening in a vacuum. Fuel prices shock from the war in Iran. That will deepen Mali's economic crisis, making life unbearable for many because the landlocked country's government will be unable to pay for imports. Many will choose to move abroad. European countries need to brace themselves for more migration from the Sahel at a time when the conflict in the Middle East is pushing the Eurozone into a toxic mix of low growth and high inflation. It's important to understand that the Sahel, despite its geographic remoteness, is not isolated. Millions of Malians and Burkinabe already work in Senegal and the Ivory Coast. More will relocate to those former French colonies in the upcoming months to escape hell at home, increasing the competition for jobs. Malians are already among the top 3 nationalities arriving on Spain's Canary Islands, a key transit point for African migrants traveling to Europe, according to the European border agency Frontex. Mali has been in a state of crisis for more than a decade. It has grappled with the jihadist insurgency, climate change destroying farmland, and the near collapse of state institutions following coups in 2020 and 2021. The instability of recent years, mixed with the failure of the Russian forces brought in following Mali's rejection of French and EU troops, means the near-term outlook is bleak. The wording of this is just so wild. Mali's rejection of French and EU troops. It's like they put Mali, the onus on Mali. They're like, well, if Mali hadn't just rejected French and EU troops, maybe they'd be more stable. This wording is just like blowing my mind. You found sensible centrism. Kubashi. What is it about? Is it about Fresno, the Greater Fresno Project? Yeah, this is the only real horseshoe theory. Although I don't know about far left. I don't know. I think the horseshoe theory actually, I guess it is, because yeah, I guess you're right. No, that is the whole point of the horseshoe. That is the whole point of the horseshoe. I get it. I get it now. I get it. The Russian departure from much of northern Mali will enable jihadist groups to set up training camps in the vast spaces vacated, paving the way for future expansion, a scenario especially feared by Algeria. Trotsky went so far left he looped back around. You're right. No, you're right. So I guess he has to be on the far left for him to loop back. Yeah, that is horseshoe theory. No, that makes sense. I get it. Yeah. He did loop around. Yes. Wait, what? What happened? Okay, Tob. You saw TikTok saying crazy stuff about PSL. You want to know what's going on. They're saying PSL's members have to pay stuff? What? This guy's in the ACP. Oh, the ACP are psychos. I'll tell you right now that every member of a socialist org pays dues. Unless you asked to be not pay dues. In any socialist org I've ever been in, it's normal to pay dues. But if you can't, then you tell them you can't. So it is normal to give dues. We joke, we call it tithing to the Church of Karl Marx, right? Because running an org costs money, and there's things you need to do, and you can give a share of your income to the org to accomplish those tasks. It's normal. It's not like weird culty behavior or anything like that. Oh, Warlow Raid. Yay. So I will tell you, hello everybody. We're about to talk about the ACP. Hello. Hi. Yeah, just like a union, as Chinese Mustard said. It's just like a union. It's not weird for an org to ask you to pay dues. That's not weird. That's fine. If they're asking you to give up your house and all of your belongings, that's a cult, right? But if they're like, hey, can you pay $10 to $20 a month? It's like very normal. It's not weird at all. Well, Vorlo raids are always stinky, is the thing about a Vorlo raid. They smell real bad, but we love them anyway. Isn't that right, Raiders? They have the stinky raids. Isn't that them? They say the PSL is buying houses in Brazil. Stinky chat. Exactly. See? That's them. This is how it goes. We like that, though. We like that. Raiders, pay your rent. Oh, it's so funny. I like a funk. Call me crazy. There's the Fresno in me. Yeah. That's good for you. You should keep them in line like that. My chat is all my tenants. So, I'm collecting that rent money from them every month. It's pretty nice. Yeah. I'm actually the one buying up all the houses in Brazil. It's not the PSL. They got confused. It's actually me with all of my rent money I collect from chat. Yeah, that was me. I don't know what they're on about the... Well, am I a traitor or am I a LARPer? That's up to you to decide. And you can vote when you submit your rent check to me every month. I know, I am the landlord, overlord. I'm the overlandlord, actually. Yeah. So... Teeth clean. Yay. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, we're going to talk about the ACP for a second. Look, I'm not going to watch that video because they fill me with rage. But here is what I'm going to tell you. Every other socialist org works together. We can work together. We try to work together. We have disagreements with each other sometimes, but we're all trying to work with each other constantly. Look, have you ever seen me say a bad word about PSL, about FRSO? No. You've even heard me say trots, drive me insane, but I respect a trot in an org more than I respect a Marxist-Leninist who's not in one. I just think that, building coalition is so important. And if you are in a Marxist-Leninist org and you are spending your time attacking other Marxist-Leninists out of nowhere, I think that's really weird and sus. And I never said a bad word about the ACP until they attacked me out of nowhere, because this is what they do. They attack other Marxist-Leninists out of nowhere. And I'm not sure what the utility is. And I told them when they did this, I was like, look, you want to recruit for MAGA? Great, someone should. That's good, fine, someone should. Do I have critiques about how you're doing it? Do I think you're tail-ending a little, maybe? Yeah, I think you're tailing MAGA. I think it's not the best approach. But I was never going to say that because, whatever, you're trying to recruit for MAGA. Good, convert them, whatever. I'm not here to attack Marxist-Leninists, but you go on the internet and you post some fuck-ass shit about me out of nowhere. That's not something Marxist-Leninists do to each other. So you want to open up the floodgates. Oh, you got jokes. Okay, great. I got jokes too. I got jokes all day long. Let's get into it. And that is really what started us in conflict with each other. They started that, unprovoked out of nowhere, right? And to me, turning it into a joke thing was a way to de-escalate, because I think it's weird and fucked to try to start conflict with other Marxist-Leninists for no reason. But they didn't. They drove it, and they keep driving it. And it's not just me. They're doing this to every Marxist-Leninist. I saw some fucking video pop up on Instagram, which I'm hardly ever on, and it's a guy from the ACP that you all probably know who he is, saying some fucking made up shit about People's Forum. People's Forum, it's an org in New York that has some crossover with PSL, because PSL has crossover with everybody. We all have crossover with each other. There's a whole ecosystem of left-wing organizing going on here that the ACP is not a part of, because they spend their time attacking other Marxists rather than participating in the coalition ecosystem we've developed, right? And it's strange. So that video, they made this video spreading all this misinformation. They claimed the People's Forum was PSL. Not true. They have crossover. There are people who go to the People's Forum who aren't in PSL. Whatever. I went on a People's Forum. I was with the People's Forum organized delegation to Cuba. That was my brigade, right? There were people there from all sorts of groups and orgs. There were some PSL people there. There was some people who weren't PSL there, right? So they claimed that the People's Forum was the PSL. No, just crossover, Venn diagram, like most Marxist-Leninist or Marxist-Leninist friendly groups, if you're actually doing on-the-ground organizing, right? So they claimed that, and then because they didn't understand what People's Forum is like a left-wing like event space hub. Like, people can use the space for left-wing organizing. So different groups organize there or hold meetings there or use it. It's like a space. It's an event space, basically. They let a group of Columbia University students use the space to hold an event, and because they were working with them for the Palestinian youth, I think the Palestinian youth movement maybe specifically, but if not them specifically, like Palestinian student resistance camps, and Columbia University famously came under fire, they used the People's Forum for an event, and at that event they happened to invite a Democrat to speak. So what happens in the ACP disinformation machine? Well, they claim now that the PSL is working with the Democratic Party. And it was the woman that spoke at that event was the Catwoman from Illinois, who has an absolutely deranged foreign policy. That if you read Liberation News, you read PSL statements, are completely different than PSL's foreign policy takes. Completely different. So the idea that they're working together, the idea that PSL and the Democratic Party are working together in the ACP's mind came because People's Forum, which is an event space where some people in it also are in PSL, but not everybody, allowed a student group at Columbia to use their event space, and a student group from Columbia invited a Democrat. And in their head, there's the PSL working in cahoots with the Democratic Party. So these people are deeply unserious, is what I'm trying to get. These people are not engaging in good faith. I'm not sure why they are attacking other Marxist-Leninists. I can tell you, I never would have said a bad word about the ACP if they hadn't done that to me, right? Yeah, it was hilarious. Codified the defense of Taiwan. That woman was out of her fucking mind. So, I think that there's important stuff for you to know about the ACP. They move weird. We don't know why they're doing that. We hope they stop doing that. And guess what? If they stop doing that and they start showing up and trying to build coalition, we would work with them. I think that most Marxists would work with them if they got their shit together a little bit and stopped being strange as hell, right? So I think that's yes, they're trying to, their whole thing is MAGA communism. So the ACP is trying to, theoretically, I'm not sure what their actual goals are, but what they say is they are trying to convert right-wing MAGA people in the USA to communism. And I think that is important to do. This is something I talk about a lot. A lot of people in the United States, if you're not from here, they are Republicans, conservative, because they hate the hypocrisy of liberalism. They don't even necessarily agree with right-wing ideologies. They just know they're not a liberal. And a lot of them erroneously, because they haven't reached class consciousness, view Donald Trump as a political outsider. So they think of him as being an outsider who's going to change business as usual. They're wrong, obviously. They're very deeply wrong. However, they can be recruited. They can be changed. And I think that is important work to try to develop class consciousness amongst that specific rank of people. However, what the ACP does is they end up tailing them. They end up following that group rather than leading them. That's how they end up with these very chauvinistic ideas about gay people. That's how they end up saying absolutely batshit crazy things like baristas aren't workers, or they get mad at people for dyeing their hair blue. I mean, it's just really childish in a lot of ways, right? So, that's not, as Lenin taught us, that's not the way to do that. You don't tail the masses, you lead the masses. And the wild thing is that I talk to a lot of conservatives, and you guys will see people will follow me sometimes. They'll be like, you know what, like I'm a Republican, but like I follow you because it's interesting listening to what you have to say. And that's really, you don't have to stoop to that level, right? To get a conservative to listen to you about communism. You don't. And if you have to, you're doing it wrong, right? I can get a conservative as a 40-year-old NB with dyed hair, a nose ring, and unshaven armpits, right? I can get a conservative to listen to me talk about communism. You don't have to reduce yourself to chauvinism to accomplish that goal. They actually don't care that much. The conservatives don't actually care that much. So, I think that that's interesting. So when you say, well, the ACP is saying this about other groups, I would take that with a grain of salt, is my point in telling you this. And again, I long for a day when I don't have to make videos talking about the weird shit the ACP is doing. I would love to be able to proudly stand in solidarity with that group and be like, they're accomplishing good things. But they're not. They're not there. They're not doing it. They're doing weird. They're moving fucking weird. And they're very, very, very homophobic. Malrish, my wife's insane MAGA dad is now blaming his boss for exporting his job to Mexico instead of the Mexicans because I talked to him about how it's all their fault. Exactly. You can reach these people. I always say the easiest person for me to talk to at a party is a libertarian. And I hate libertarians. We have opposite viewpoints, right? I hate a libertarian. That's the easiest person for me to talk to at a party. That's the person I can talk to about politics for hours, right? Yeah, nobody's talking to these people. Somebody should be talking to these people. And when you get down to it, a lot of these people, some of them are weird fucking bigots, right? But a lot of them aren't. A lot of them will be like MAGA conservatives will be like, well, my daughter's a lesbian now. And you're like, oh, okay, all right. And they actually don't care that much about these things. So the fact that you feel you have to tail the masses and reduce yourself to chauvinism and homophobia to appeal to them, that is not the most important thing to most of those people. A few fringe right-wing freaks, sure, maybe, but most of them don't actually care about gay people. They don't like, they don't like Target having Pride merch, but you know what? I think it's fucking weird that Target has Pride merch too. So, whatever. Yeah, this is pretty much why Trump exists. He's the one who talked to them. Exactly. Maurer says, leftists engage with these fuck-ass conversations about ideology and fake fucking genocides instead of doing the basics, like talking to workers about material conditions. Exactly. And like for my partner, you guys know my partner's family is from the USSR, and my partner identifies loosely as like a socialist, but like isn't ML pilled, and is like, oh, it just reminds me of my grandma too much. She was so obsessed with Stalin, blah, 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 blah. But my partner is at work talking to blue-collar conservative dudes all day long, and like, doing the same thing, just talking to them. Just talking to them about China in a normal way and being like, look at all this fuck ass shit that like our government is doing, the owner of this company is doing, blah, 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 blah. And it's effective at getting through to people. Haley says, many people also care less, or at least less reactionary in person than they are online. They just never had anyone call them out IRL. Yeah, it's true. It's actually true. My partner's family's from Belarus. Yeah. Yeah, it turns out lecturing them about lesbian CEOs doesn't win over the white working class. It's completely correct. You're evil redneck, right? But also being like, my entire identity is to start fights on the internet and hate gay people. That doesn't convert them to communism either, right? That doesn't do anything for them. So I don't know. I hope they figure it out. It would be cool to have a communist group that appeals to those people, that figures it out. That would be awesome. I think that PSL is very, very, very good at appealing to liberals. They've got that on lock. The PSL can convert a liberal to a communist, and I think that is so cool. We need that for conservatives. We need a version of that for Republicans. But those people just don't have their shit together, and they spread lies about other communists, and then they act like they're the victims. It's just weird. It's just weird to me. So, I hope they get it together. All right. With that in mind, very Freudian. I'm in your house doing Freud. Yeah, we have a little time to return to Mali, and then we should move on to the map. What else do we think about the Mali situation here? We've got a couple more paragraphs in this kind of more propaganda-y mainstream right-wing piece.
A government vacuum in the north would benefit arms dealers, drug smugglers, and human traffickers, all of whom pass through Mali and neighboring Niger on their way up to Libya and Mauritania. On the main routes from sub-Saharan Africa to Europe, the insurgency has spread to neighbors Burkina Faso and Niger, with jihadists now pushing into Gulf and Guinea countries, Benin and Togo. Now, again, remember, this is all... We're seeing political instability. We're seeing insurgents trying to overthrow the government of Mali and spilling into Burkina Faso and Niger. What do these three countries have in common? And this is the benefit of our map making exercise. They're all the resistance. They're all the resistance in Africa. So, of course, this is where it's currently being destabilized magically, just with nothing to do with the West, right? Just because of their own inherent instability, and it's just these three countries. I wonder why, right? They're the resistance, that's why. And the West is trying to destabilize them and overthrow them and take them over. So does anybody have any questions or points about Mali that they want to talk about before we get into map?
It's important to understand that this wasn't just a big terror attack. This was actually a coup attempt, because the idea was to collapse the Malian government and to essentially either replace the Malian government, or if they couldn't do that, create so much chaos and panic that the Malian people will then rise up against their own government. Almost as soon as these attacks began, the coordinated Western media establishment response didn't contain any sort of condemnation or any sort of indication as to the fact that this is a bad thing that is happening. This is a legitimate government that is being targeted, and these are basically terrorists, for lack of a better term. Instead, what you kept seeing was different variations of the basic theme that the Malian government is weak, Mali is weak, and it's collapsed. There were reportedly over 12,000 fighters that were part of this wave of attacks. So if you have a terror attack where you're having 12,000 fighters, then you then have to question what kind of terror entity, what kind of terrorist group is able to mobilize resources on that scale, because Mali is geographically bigger than the UK, Germany, and France put together. From my perspective, here in West Africa, it's visible to the blind and audible to the deaf what is going on. Different non-state actors with different grouses are sort of mobilized against the state by a Western actor, as was done in Syria. They're armed, they're trained, they're resourced, they're given access to logistics that they ordinarily cannot raise on their own, and they're used as a proxy army to collapse a state whose existence is viewed as problematic to the existence of, or to the ambitions of, this Western empire. The message is being sent to the AES that the transition from being neo-colonial states to being fully sovereign is not something that these Western actors are just going to sit back and let happen. It's important to understand that this wasn't just a big...
That was a really good video. I liked that video. It was very good. There's breakthrough news video. Very good. So it's the beginning of a new regional bloc with them in Burkina Faso and a third country. I mean, yeah, I think it's Niger that you're speaking of. Yeah, they have this block here all together. And for those of you who don't know, this is our camp map. So this is where we keep track of kind of the alliances of the world, who's backing who, to what extent, and it helps us understand that, any coup attempts going on in this region are most likely going to be... Here, sorry, it didn't work. I don't know why. I thought I hit it, but this is the map that we do. It helps us understand that any coup attempts going on in this region are most likely going to be to destabilize them, because they are part of what we call the resistance that is aligned with Russia and China and Iran. So that's kind of what's going on here. Yes. All right, should we get into the map? Oh, wait, Stargaze Rog. My mom's Malian. My uncle builds houses for the Malian government. I can tell you with absolute certainty this regime change method isn't going to work that well in Mali. Even the least politically inclined person has a genuine love for their government and a massive mistrust for the West. That's good. That's good news. I'm very, very happy to hear that. Good for them. I'm very, very proud to hear that for them. All right. So, let's get into the map, everybody. Today, I'm thinking we do Angola. Let's take a look at Angola from a map perspective. So those of you who don't know, yes, Hegel's Big Dialecticals, I also wanted to do, Molly. Those of you who don't know what we're doing here, we are mapping, as I said, the camps, the current camps of the world. The world is divided into different groups of people who are tacitly aligned with each other, fervently aligned with each other, fighting for competing interests. And we, every day now, we take a look at a country on the map and we fill it in with what camp it is most aligned with. And today, we are going to be doing Angola. Mallory says, first things first, best flag in history. Okay, let's take a look. I'm not oh! Hard agree. Okay, hard agree. Best flag in history. All right. Best flag in history. So, we actually saw a little bit from the Cuba episodes because we saw Victor Drake talk about the Angolan resistance, the Angolan civil war, I guess you could call it. And I think that was pretty wonderful. I wonder if we can find anything about Victor Drake in particular on it. Yes, Angola. And he was talking about it a lot, which is very, very cool. I'm going to see if we have anything about him talking about Angola again. I have my videos, but they're not really well sorted. So, okay. So this is just some interesting context to bring it back into the Cuba situation. So Victor Drake, if you guys watched our Cuba series, you saw me sitting in a room with like 30 people, and he was there. And he is one of the most famous Cuban revolutionaries who helped fight the Revolutionary War. And yeah, they also, the Cuban revolutionaries went to assist in Angola. So I'm going to read a little bit about this just to give us some context, some international context for Angola and where they've historically been. So Drake tells a story of a little known but decisive chapter in the struggles of working people and the oppressed. And I heard this man talk about Angola for probably like an hour, which was really, really fascinating. Cuba's internationalist actions reinforce the values of our socialist revolution that we continue to defend today, Drake explains. Those not willing to fight for the freedom of others will never be able to fight for their own, he said, citing Castro's words in 1976, saluting the Cuban volunteers who had just helped their Angolan brothers and sisters defeat an invasion by the South African apartheid regime. Drake, Commander Moha, as he's known in Africa, brings to life the popular struggle that in 1974 and 1975 not only won independence for the West African nations of Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde, but hastened the liberation of Angola and Mozambique, bringing down the entire Portuguese colonial empire, the final one to stain the African continent. Portugal! There we go. I'm always telling people if you're being weird about Russia but not Portugal, there might be something going on there. That victory also led to the downfall of decades-long dictatorship in Portugal itself, triggering a mass revolutionary upsurge of workers and peasants there. Drake tells us in vivid detail how between 1966 and 1974, hundreds of Cuban volunteers, including himself, contributed to these history-changing events. The interview with him is followed by a chapter with reflections by several other Cubans who fought for the Guinea-Bissau independence or helped lead that internationalist message. So the people in Cuba had gone to Angola to help them fight, and this is a huge point of pride for the people of Cuba. So historically, the people of Cuba and the people of Angola had really been aligned. I'm going to see if I can find an easy timeline for us to just recap of Angola. Their kind of, contemporary history. Oh, actually, the BBC has one. So yeah, we'll take a look at this BBC one really fast, everybody. Bye, Lord Axiom. So everyone really gets just like a brief overview for those of you who aren't as familiar with us. So they've got the Portuguese arrive there in 1483 and they colonize it. They do not leave until the 1974. So the Portuguese are literally there 1500, 1600, 1700, 1800 for 500 years. It's crazy how long the Portuguese were there. Where does mod on mod crime go? Votes. So the Portuguese were there for a very, very long time. Now, the MPLA was the People's Movement for the Liberation of Angola. They were a socialist guerrilla independence movement, yes. And they ended up in 1976 gaining the upper hand in Angola after the Portugal colonial control went away. And in 1979, the socialist leader Neto died and Jose Eduardo dos Santos took over as president.
In 1987, South African forces entered Angola to support UNITA. And South Africa agreed to Namibia independence in exchange for removal of Cuban troops from Angola. So Cuban troops were there helping to defend Angola's sovereignty up through the 80s, right? It was a while. And Dos Santos, UNITA leader Savimba, they agreed to a ceasefire, Dos Santos, of course, being the socialists. So there was this fighting going on. Cubans were there defending the socialists, etc. And Dos Santos and the opposition forces, they agreed to, the communists, the socialists, and the opposition forces agreed to a ceasefire. That happened in 1989, but it collapsed pretty fast. People kept fighting. So, in 1991, the MPLA officially stopped being Marxist-Leninist, all right? They're social democrats from that point on, but they had been Marxist-Leninists up until that point. And in 1991, also worth noting, that's the year the USSR stops existing. So a lot is happening that's changing people's ties. Without the USSR there as a protectorate and an anchor for Marxist-Leninist places, they pretty much know they're sitting ducks for the West. So I feel that this is my personal analysis. This is not a fact, but I feel that a lot of the places that made a switch away from Marxist-Leninism in 1991 thought that it would help them survive. I think that they were under the impression it would help them not induce the ire and attention of the West. And I think that that's probably why we saw a lot of moves towards social democracy or various forms of social democracy or third ways, etc., happen around this time period. So I think the timing of 1991 being when the socialist government of Angola decides they're no longer Marxist-Leninists and they're going to do social democracy, I think that's, my assessment is that it's not a coincidence and that is a strategic move, right, for them to try to survive in a world that no longer is multipolar between communism and capitalism, but now is just capitalist hegemony. Shame posting Camp 1. So, Dos Santos, Savimbi, they signed a peace deal the next month in Lisbon, and now they have a new multi-party constitution. So the following year, they have presidential and parliamentary polls certified by UN monitors, free and fair elections, as the UN would say. Dos Santos won, and Savimbi doesn't take that. He's like, no, fuck you. It must have been a lie. It was not a lie. Everybody said it was not a lie. But he was like, no, and then resumes fighting. So the UN imposes sanctions against him. And the U.S. is kind of forced to acknowledge the MPLA. But they're not so mad at that because it's not a Marxist-Leninist org anymore. So they're not as much of a threat. So they signed a peace accord in the 90s. There's some more tension. 1998, full-scale fighting picks up again. Thousands of people get killed. And this goes on for years. So Angola also intervened in a civil war on the side of the DRC. Or in the DRC, rather, on the side of the president there, who was experiencing destabilization as well. In 1999, the UN leaves. And in the year 2002, Savimbi, the opposing force against the socialists and then the social democrats there, dies, is killed by the government, and they sign a ceasefire again. So, now, throughout the early 2000s, there still is tension going on there, and again, these aren't communists anymore. They're former communists, and that's important to note. They are not Marxist-Leninists, but they are still the more progressive party, right, or the progressive entity of Angola at this time. And again, I am inclined to believe their transition away from that their hand was forced, is what it feels like to me, okay? So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So in 2002, the opposition to them, they're Demsoks now, UNITA, they get rid of their armed unit, and Angola's defense minister says the war has ended. And then the UN is like, okay, we're leaving for real now. So UNITA at this point no longer has its own military. It's not a militia. It's just a political party. And they elect a new leader in 2003. That's Samakuva. So from then, they do some crackdowns on foreign diamond dealers that had been operating in Angola. Oil production is ramping up. They've got a lot of resources that the West wants. They get hit with Ebola. Not Ebola, sorry. It was a different disease. It was more deadly than Ebola. And that kind of is of significance to them and kind of feels like it sparks a crisis of some kind.
And then in 2005, China gets involved. So, Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao in 2005 comes and promises to extend more than $2 billion in new credit to Angola. And they'd already given some money in the past, but you think about it, they've got the diamond production going on, they've got the oil production ramping up. So China comes and is like, we can do trade with you, let's do more. And this is going to be something that affects the tone of Angola coming into the world as we know it today, right? So getting into 2007, Dos Santos, who'd previously been the Marxist-Leninist leader and is now just like the dumb soak leader, says parliamentary elections are going to be held in 2008 and presidential elections are going to be held in 2009. And in 2008, they have their first parliamentary election in more than 16 years. Remember, they had the free and fair elections and the left won, but then all the civil war broke out because the opposition, the right-wing opposition, refused to accept the results of it. Well, now they're holding parliamentary elections again, right? And in 2009, Angola expelled illegal Congolese diamond miners. And the DRC responded by expelling 20,000 Angolans. So this diamond conflict going on in Africa, this is really a time of this. And like, as a millennial, this was actually in pop culture for us. Before Kanye West went crazy, he was literally writing songs about the diamond mining industry in Africa. So this was something like 2008, 2009, this was in our zeitgeist, and this was something we heard about a lot that was going on with the diamond conflicts. In 2009, Dos Santos was like, we're not going to do presidential elections, we're going to hold off for 3 more years, and their state oil firm signed a deal to produce oil in Iraq. Diamonds are forever. Big Gakko knows what I'm talking about. So, 2010, Angola hosts African Nations Cup, continent's most popular sporting event. Yes, okay. Parliament does new constitution. This stuff's not as interesting to us. All right. So, in 2010, this gets important again. The president of the DRC visits Angola, and I remember they had some conflicts before, and then the following month, the UN releases a report of killing of Hutus in DRC and says that crimes of genocide may have occurred, and it blames Angola, Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi, and Zimbabwe. Now, after that, a convoy carrying Chinese mine workers was attacked in Angola, and a faction of a Kabila separatist movement claims responsibility. So to me, this feels like the West is all over this, but and Angola is kind of starting to come under fire, right, by the UN, by the USA. All of a sudden, it just feels like in 2010, the USA is really trying to change the hand of Angola. We're starting to come at them for things, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the result of this is that more than 20,000 people come out to support their government, their leader, their left Dem Sok leader at the time. Because there had been this social media campaign telling people to demonstrate against the government. Now, this is also the era around when USAID was setting up fake Twitter in Cuba to try to convince people there to rebel against the government. There were some Facebook campaigns to convince people not to vote in areas, to convince young people not to vote, that it was really cool not to vote in certain areas where elections were coming up with left-wing politicians who were likely to win throughout Africa. There was this huge movement around this time for social media, basically to manipulate the masses. And look where it got us today, right? Yeah, they're really good at it now. But in March 2011, they did this. So there was a social media campaign calling on people to overthrow the government, right? And this is so transparent when you look at this. What happens? All of a sudden, a small separatist group emerges in Angola. And they start doing terrorism and being like, we want to separate from you. And the USA is like, we support this separatist group. Oh my God, Angola, you're doing human rights abuses. Hey, people on social media, go try to overthrow your government. This is, again, the US has 2 playbooks, or 1 playbook with very few plays in it. This is one of them. Not our guys, big bad, et cetera, et cetera. And this is exactly what's happening here. So very transparent to everybody who was watching this at the time. Human Rights Watch accuses the government of a campaign of intimidation to suppress anti-government protests. HRW doing what HRW does, supporting Western liberalist pro-capitalist agenda. It's exactly Dorian Sapiens. So they annul the appointment of the head of the Electoral Commission. Opposition saying, oh, you're not politically neutral. Opposition
with Western backing, it's worth noting. The MPLA, though, they still win. They're still popular. Now the former Marxist-Leninists, now Soap Dems, they're still popular in Angola. They win the election for parliament, and that guarantees another term in office for Dos Santos. And everybody says these are free and fair elections. Yes, yes, yes. But the opposition is still like, no, they're fake. They're lying. They're fake. They're fake. They're fake. So, 2012. Angola launches a $5 billion sovereign wealth fund to channel the country's oil wealth into investment projects. And you can guess how the West is going to feel about this, right? They're not going to like this. Had some census stuff. Okay, anti-government protests pick up. But again, remember, the government is winning re-election after re-election, and elections everybody has to acknowledge are free and fair. So these anti-government protesters, most likely being incited by the West. I don't think we have firm concrete proof of that, but come on. They're picking up steam and they are still protesting. And then they're saying they've been beaten and detained for demonstrating against the government. And then the government kills 3 of them. And then it's the whole thing. So if you did my video that's like, could you survive getting couped by the USA? Textbook that video. This is exactly the game plan for what everybody does. This is how the pattern plays out, right? So we see this. So Amnesty International then comes in and says Angola has been doing extrajudicial killings and excessive force against these protesters. Textbook NGOs, human rights oriented NGOs doing what we do best. Is it true that Angola was cracking down on protesters? Yes, those protesters probably had Western backing or were trying to do a coup and overthrow the government. That seems like important context nobody wants to bring up here. No, that video didn't get taken down. It's still up. So this is kind of what's been going on up until 2017 is where this timeline ends. 2017, the left-wing Demso government, former Marxist-Leninist government of Angola, wins another election again, and João Lourenço wins. Okay, so that's 20. So that gets you up to speed until 2017. Okay. Now, let's take a look at what's going on in Angola in the current news, just to get a more proper orientation for what they've been up to. And let's see. Hold on, I'm pulling up some things for us to search and look at. Okay, I think this one looks good. So this is also BBC, so we're getting the Western capital bias. Yes, exactly, Malrish. Yes. So it's important to note that 2017 article, I just wanted to fact check this to make sure I'm correct. It's still the same guy as 2017. So he is still the president. Yeah, still Lourenço. So he's still with that same party that we consider the more left-wing party, the former Marxist-Leninist party there. They're not Marxist-Leninist anymore, but you get it. Inside the alleged Russian operation to trigger anti-government protests in Angola. Now, this is going to be interesting because this is from the BBC. Oh, my God. So this is anti-Russian bias, obviously, but also we know that I feel like it's the USA and the West who've been trying to trigger these anti-government protests, but we'll see what's up. We'll see. Bye, Virgo. Thank you for everything. 2 Russians are due to go on trial in Angola, accused of stirring up anti-government protests, conducting a campaign of disinformation, and attempting to interfere in the next year's presidential election. Oh, okay. So, arrested last August, political consultants Igor Rachin and translator Lev Lakhtanov are facing 11 charges, including terrorism, espionage, and influence peddling. The BBC has obtained a copy of the indictment that includes charges related to an alleged operation aimed at changing the political course of Angola. The Russians' lawyers challenged the indictment on the grounds that it lacks concrete and objective facts. The fact that they're just calling them the Russians, though, is interesting. Let's get into this. Because I feel like Angola's had a pretty good relationship with Russia. Oh, yeah, look. Right here. Yeah. According to the prosecution, the Russians acted on behalf of Africa Politology, a shadowy network of operatives and intelligence officers in Africa that emerged from the now-defunct Wagner Group. Okay, so this makes sense. So for those of you who haven't been in the stream, we've talked about this a little bit. When the head of the Wagner Group got busted for trying to overthrow Putin, the Wagner Group that was stationed in Africa kind of freaked out, and they reached out to the United States, and they were like, hey, could you take us in, please? We're fucked. And so they started starting these breakaway branch off groups that are working more with the United States. So the fact that Africa Politology emerged from the now defunct Wagner Group, these are Russians probably not aligned with Russia, but more aligned with the United States, if we had to guess. So that's an important context to have here. Yes, Wagner Group, whose founder, Prigozhin, died in 2023 in a plane crash. So political operatives linked to Wagner have been active across Africa for more than a decade, in particular in CAR, Mali, and Madagascar. The Russian defense team says they are not connected to Africa Politology or the Wagner Group, were not acting on behalf of the Russian state, and were instead cooperating to create a cultural Russia house in Luanda. I am inclined to believe they were not acting on behalf of the Russian state also. Angola is a top African oil producer and diamond exporter. Its natural resources and strategic position make it a country of continued interest for Moscow. But while ties date back to the Cold War, Angola has been gradually drifting away from Russia's sphere of influence. Russian diamond mining company Alrosa and bank VTB were forced to leave Angola due to international sanctions imposed because of the Ukraine war. Angolan President João Lourenço has pivoted towards the West, maybe, and has not met his Russian counterpart Putin since 2019. Okay, so this is the shift that maybe this is real. The Russian operatives in Africa were breaking new ground by moving into Angola, it's claimed. This is indicative of Russian anxiety of the direction of travel of Angola under the Lourenço administration. There's clearly an element of Russian disinformation to try to build up more sympathy towards the Russian Federation. This is interesting. So this could be true. It depends on how much Lourenço actually is shifting and pivoting to the West right now since 2019. So full disclosure, I probably stopped being super locked into Angola around 2014, 2015, because that's when my partner died and I checked out of politics completely for like 5 years. So the extent of my understanding of them ends with that period. So that's why reading this, I'm like, well, it wasn't the Wagner Group. It was probably the areas of Wagner Group that ended up realigning with the United States. But if it's true that they've been pivoting more towards the West, that would be important updated information that we should look into. So, according to the indictment, during 2024 and 2025, the defendants made multiple payments to local journalists to disseminate propaganda and disinformation in local media with the goal of provoking political change. The payments add up to over $24,000. Angolan authorities see this work as part of a broader influence operation and tend to undermine trust in Western partners and to discredit Lourenço's foreign policy. Okay, I see. So, this is what's going on. Now, I want to know how much Lourenço is pivoting to the West. That's what I want to know. We've got a guy who was previously associated with them. Local connection made through a guy there. This Russian guy who's worked as a translator in Angola since the Soviet era, unfortunately has immaculate vibes. He looks very, very great. Very interesting to me. Agitators are scapegoats. So last July, Angola saw the deadliest protests since the end of a civil war between UNITA and the MPLA in 2002. What started as a peaceful taxi driver strike in Luanda quickly grew into nationwide unrest that turned violent. Protesters were met with what activists described as excessive police force, and according to the figure, 29 people died and more than 1,200 were arrested. The prosecution alleges the defendants orchestrated the protests, pointing to notes about demonstrations found on their mobile phones and photos taken by Ratchin. In legal papers seen by the BBC, Ratchin's lawyers say he took the images for safety reasons, so he would have evidence if he was attacked, but the BBC has not seen the photos or the notes. Many Angolan journalists and activists strongly contest the idea that the protests were not organic and say Angolan authorities might be using the Russians as scapegoats. The World Bank estimates that almost 40% of Angolans could be living below the international poverty line of $3 per day. People were protesting because of their living conditions, says a researcher at Human Rights Watch. Again, Human Rights Watch, though, we know in the past, when it comes to Angola, has been doing pro-Western kind of campaigning. The indictment itself has been criticized. It contains misspellings, apparent factual errors. Okay, see, this is kind of interesting. This is kind of a mess. So, a source close to the Russian diplomatic community told the BBC that the logic is simple. These people were not carrying out official state tasks. They were just contractors. Russia's position in the country is already weak. There's no point in making things worse. Let these remnants of Prigozhin's operation sort itself out, the source said. So, Russia is basically like, we don't claim those guys. Those guys used to be affiliated with a group led by a dude who tried to overthrow our government. We don't care what fucking happens to them, right? Angola apparently is like, they're doing this on behalf of Russia because we're getting friendly with the United States. pin in that. I want to fact check how much that is. And the BBC is like, oh my God, they hate us for our freedom vibes, general, blah, blah, blah. Western NGOs agree with us. All right, so I think this is really interesting. So let's see what kind of evidence we can find of Lourenco moving towards the west in Angola. News. So Dos Santos definitely we know is left wing. Even with the changes, that occurred. Okay. This article is from 2022. Angola's honeymoon with China ends, but will that end its woes? Flag is so good. Beautiful flag. Angola, a mineral-rich country in southern Africa, is a classic case of resource curse. The country... Resource curse. Yeah, your shit's so good that the West keeps trying to overthrow you and steal it. It's been described as the world's richest poor country because its mineral wealth has not contributed to the well-being of its population, which lives in abject poverty. About 50% of the population currently lives below the international poverty line as of 2022. During the years of the Civil War, two warring factions, the Marxist Popular Movement for the Liberation of Angola and the National Union for the Total Independence of Angola, use resource rents to continue the war, etc., etc. Now, China-Angola relations became the talking point in the 2000s, and the country was regarded as the poster child of Chinese influence in Africa until recently. After the Civil War ended in 2002, the Angolan government approached the international donor community. Oh my God, Zay was in here this whole time. She was behind the couch. For funds to rebuild the country. However, its talks with the IMF failed as the Angolan government did not agree to the IMF's basic austerity measures that say you can't do things for your people. China, on the other hand, agreed to provide massive sums for the reconstruction of the country without any conditionalities. As a result, the Angolan government turned to China and signed the framework for agreement in 2003. Billions of dollars were given to them, etc., etc. Angola experienced high rates of economic growth between 2002 to 2013, and China emerged as Angola's top trading partner. China imported nearly 45% of Angolan oil. China credit was heavily tied to the use of Chinese companies and goods, and the Angolan government led by Dos Santos subverted the country's local content policy to aid the Chinese companies in Angola. He was the more socialist of the presidents, definitely. As a result, these projects did not create full jobs for the local population. Okay. Chinese infrastructure projects eventually became synonymous with corruption and poor governance. Source needed on that. We're just looking at random Western topics. Blah, blah, blah. All right. So this is kind of where we leave off. Journalists or, I don't know, talking about Lourenco here. Lourenco's trying to improve governance and root out corruption. He's very critical of the agreements which were signed with China under Dos Santos. So he is trying to kind of move towards the West, it looks like. That does feel like that's real for him. We're wrapping up Angola. So let's see what the update is. I'm going to see if there's been any Angola USA meetings in the news recently. This is interesting because they're getting courted for sure by the West. Biden hosts Angola's president seeking to strengthen African ties. This is in 2023. Major U.S. investment in the country as he tries to shore up his pledge to revitalize relations with African nations. Okay. The United States is helping to finance a $1 billion rail project for Angola. The biggest U.S. rail investment in Africa ever. We don't have rail here. We don't have rail in the United States for anybody keeping track at home. It's also a project in which the United States, dependent on rare earth minerals, has a significant self-interest. Yes. Solar energy projects. Biden said, simply put, a partnership between Angola and America is more important and more impactful. He also reiterated his pledge to visit the continent, saying that he would return to Angola, the home of the first enslaved black people who were brought to the United States in 1619, and a country he traveled to before when he was president, although he did not say when. Lourenco, who previously visited the United States as Angola's Minister of Defense, told reporters after the meeting that it was better than I expected. Our relationship is at a high level, he said. There's total opening by the U.S. government, and Angola will win with this. Not just Angola, but the continent. So President Xi Jinping of China also visited the continent, and Putin of Russia held his own summit with the leaders. The United States has maintained that its interest in Africa has not been motivated by competition with other nations. All right, so this is very, very fascinating for us in terms of map. So what we have is a historically resistant country that is now capitulating to the West. Very, very interesting. So I would say that they are cucked by the West currently. What do you guys think, though? It's the opposite of cucked brat, right? It's very, very fascinating. Does anybody have any thoughts about how we should be positioning them? Because the new president does seem very Western aligned. They are trying to blame the Russian state for these random Wagner Group guys. They are ashamed of their flag. The new president's ashamed of that flag. Sad to see it happen. I would say that the process of cucking has been complete. If they are arresting guys, mercenaries, and associating them with the will of the Russian people, and Russia's like, we don't give a fuck, we don't know those guys, we hate those guys, whatever, man, it does sound cucked. So I fear Angola has become cucked under their new president. Yeah. That's where I'm going to place them for now. If anything changes, or divided is usually if they have a lot of internal struggle, but I don't think Angola has enough internal struggle to not be able to participate. I think they are participating, and they have chosen to participate with the United States, and that's the route they have. They are a transitional cuck. They are transitioning to cuck. Yeah, they've decided that's where they want to go. I don't see evidence of a resistance faction within Angola either. Correct. It is very sad. We lost one. We hate to see it. Wow. All right, Angola. Well, that was a great update of information for me as someone who had not paid attention in 10 years to current developments in Angola. I'm glad we did that. I feel like I know better what's going on. The flag is great, though. Heck of a flag. Best flag ever, I will say. All right, everybody. So with that, it's time for us to wrap up our stream. I'm going to send you over to Rob Rousseau because Larry's not streaming today, I've been told. And I'm going to see you guys all on Monday. I hope you have a lovely weekend. It does break my heart. It does break my heart. I want the resistance to grow. I want to build. I want to build. We will win, though. We will win. We will win. Can somebody give me Rob's username exactly as it's spelled? Is there like an underscore or something? Does anybody know it? Anybody know it? Rob Rousseau, just like that, Kubashi? Is it just like that? Yes, yes, yes. Oh yeah, with the A, Hegel's big dialecticals. I got you guys. Rob Rousseau. Okay, I'm sending you off. I hope you have a great weekend, everyone. It's happening. It's happening. No, Larry. Sad, sad, sad. You know, it's like that sometimes. One new raid. Everybody's getting ready. Yes, yes, yes. Fresno Real, coming for you. Coming for you. That's what I'm doing this weekend. I'm building the Greater Fresno map. Different kind of map.